Big O Show. This is the 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 Big O Show.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
The viewpoints.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Well, good morning. There we are. We are ready to rock and roll. Hope you all are doing well out there. I hope you're able to hear me. I hope everything is cool. Make sure you give me a thumbs up there to make sure the audio is fine there overall. Anyway, welcome aboard to the show. We are slightly early today because we got a lot of things going on today. We got Omar Kelly going to join us in just a couple of minutes. About 15 minutes from now, we're going to talk to Omar Kelly. We'll talk to Ira Winderman at 10:30. We got Manny Navarro at 11 o'clock. We got Scott Pianowski at noon. We got Cameron Wolf at 12:30. I mean, we are absolutely loaded today on the show, so we're ready to rock and roll. And we got some good news, I guess, right? If you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, it finally happened. And we're going to have Manny Navarro on today at 11 a.m., so I'm sure Manny is digging some dirt. And remember, Manny throughout told us that Mario wanted to kind of pace this thing, and he doesn't necessarily like to fire people, but he wanted to kind of, for Josh to kind of find a job somewhere else and then move on himself. And that, hey, we've parted ways. Josh Gaddis has moved on to whatever. And this kind of tells me that nobody wanted his ass. So maybe Josh tried to see if he could find a job somewhere else and move on, and Mario gave him some time. But clearly they have to turn the page too here in Coral Gables. And so they had to fire him today, and they made the announcement and they let him go, which was, I think, about the most obvious thing that you had to do. Yeah, you had to fire this guy. I mean, there was no reason to keep him around. He was terrible. He did not adjust to the talent that he had. A little bit of what Mike McDaniel did, not to his degree, because Mike's offense was explosive and there was a lot of positives to it, right? But he failed to use Gesicki. And to me, that was, I got to give McDaniel big F on that one, big failure on that one. That showed me that he allowed his philosophy and ignorance to get in the way of figuring out a way how to put a really talented player and a playmaker, on the field. And I thought that Josh Gaddis did a shit job for the University of Miami, because you inherited a different kind of offense, but then you forced your offense on the guys that you currently had, even if they weren't suited for that offense. That tells me you're not a very good offensive coordinator, because you can't adjust to what you need to do. When I see Spo, he adjusts to whatever kind of talent he has. He doesn't say, this is the system I have, and you all have to fit in one way or another. He never does that. He adjusts to what he has, and then he finds his strengths and weaknesses, and then he tries to adjust it, and that's why he's a hell of a coach. And I thought Josh Gaddis did a terrible job and, made Tyler Van Dyke look terrible. Well, that's because Tyler was more suited for a spread system. So over the next couple of years, while you recruit and find the players that fit the scheme you really want to run, well, guess what? Why don't you tweak it right now and make sure you use it to the advantage of your current talent? Josh Gaddis didn't do that. And you started to lose games to teams. I mean, listen, Mario Cristobal now owns, okay? He owns it. The worst season I have ever seen the Miami Hurricanes. He owns it. Okay? He owns it. And I'm a Mario fan. I believe he's going to turn it around. But forever, he will carry that he owes. He owes it. Owns it. He owns the worst season ever by a Hurricanes head coach. That's not a good thing for Mario Cristobal to start off his career as the head coach of the University of Miami. The most disgraceful, embarrassing, despicable season I have ever seen in Coral Gables was the 2022 season. And by the way, just like Mike McDaniel, we can't be having that conversation again at the end of next year. Okay? That what went on this past year under Mario can never, ever, 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 ever happen again. Because if it ever happens again, you got the wrong coach. And if Mike McDaniel at the end of this season still can't figure out the challenge, Still, players are still not lining up at the right spots. They're not running the right routes. You don't have a good feel for the game. You don't know when to stay running the football, all those kind of things. Then you got the wrong coach too. Okay? I got to be honest. I'm a Mario fan, but I can be wrong too. So none of the shit that went on this year, it better not go on next year at all. This coming season, you have weeded out the players pretty much that you don't want. You've brought in and transferred in, and you've used the transfer for to bring in players that are already ready to play that you want. Manny Diaz actually did a good job with the portal and brought in guys that he instantly made an impact. You better do the same thing. And that's why Mario had to make this change, because his first season was as uninspiring as it ever has been for any coach of any team in the history of South Florida. Okay? It's just as bad as Cam Cameron's 1-15. Yeah. It's just as disgraceful as that Riley season to get Beasley. Right? But with Riley, come on, man. That's an aberration. That's nothing. You can deal with a crap season with the Heat and Riley because Riley's God. He's giving you a crap ton of playoffs and division titles and conference titles and 3 NBA World Championships. Riley can have a little valley every once in a while. Who cares? You know what I mean? Riley's amazing. Spo's amazing. But they're proven. Mario and Mike have to prove it. And this was the first step for Mario here. Well, one of many steps, let me put it this way, that he needs to correct for next season. Talent, coaching, and then the next thing is results. And he better get improved results next year. And he better find the right offensive coordinator to replace Josh Gaddis. But he did today what he was supposed to do. Fire his ass because he was not the right fit. And I got to say, this looks to me like nobody wanted Josh Gaddis. Was Josh Gaddis just a fluke at Michigan? Because the job he did here made it look like it was a fluke at Michigan. Two Extreme says, Big O, everybody should be happy that Mario identified the right problem and is working ASAP to fix it. Yeah, well, now he's got to fix it. So it's nice to identify it. Manny Diaz identified a lot of things and tried to fix them. Fixed some, but he didn't really get the results in the end. So he's got to get the results in the end. Remember, as much as I like Mario, let's talk a little bit about this. Let's be, because the problem is that sometimes we aren't willing to be honest and go deep down inside. I'm a big Mario Cristobal fan. I believe that he can turn the program around. But I think he's got a couple of question marks I need answered too. As much as I like Mario, he's got to show me that he really knows offense. In a NCAA where you got to score a lot of points, defenses really don't play great defense that much anymore. You got to come up with 35, 40 points on average, okay? You're in the 25, 30 range, you might just lose some games. And Mario, the way he handled the offense in Oregon, and then when they move Herbert to the pros and he's airing out the ball a lot more than he ever did at Oregon, and I saw him run a lot at Oregon, right, where at least to have the kid passing. Now, listen, the clutch gene, that's another conversation we can have about Herbert. That's not what I'm talking about here. But all I'm saying is what they've done with Herbert, at least at the NFL level, Mario couldn't do it in the college level. So if there is a concern that I got to honestly say I have with Mario is offense. And does he have a conservative approach to his offense? And if he does have a conservative approach, then we're going to have some issues down the line. Okay? So we'll see. We'll see. Unless you can be so dominant on the O&D lines that you can physically dominate your opponent week in and week out and control it with the running game and a decent passing game. Okay. If you can get away with that, I'm good if you're getting the results. But I think in today's college football, in today's NFL, where all the rules favor the offense, it opens it up for the quarterback and the receiver. And you need chunk plays, you need explosive plays, you need quick scoring strikes because points are scored in this league. And Mario's got to show us that he can build an offense that is explosive and that his conservative nature as an offensive lineman and an offensive line coach does not get in the way Mike Munchak style. Everybody liked Munchak. Hell of a player, hell of a line coach. But then when he got to become a head coach, a little too conservative. And we're not in an era of being conservative anymore. Okay? We're just not. And some of you may, as much as you like Mario, you may not even have the balls to say what I just said. But deep down inside, you know it. You know I'm right. You know that there's that there is that gray area with Mario Cristobal. I'm willing to admit it. I'm willing to say it. As much as I'm a Mario guy, I'm rooting for him. I want him to do it. But on this show, we don't F around, dude. We tell you exactly like it is. Okay? I'm not worried about brownie points. I'm not worried about franchises or programs liking me. I'm not worried about, oh my God, I got to ingratiate myself to the head coach or to the AD or to the PR department or to the media relations department. Or no, that's not my job. My job is to do a talk show, to do a real sports talk show, and to talk about the issues and make you think. And maybe you didn't even think about it. But I'm going to make you think. Maybe I might make you mad. Maybe I might make you happy. Maybe I make you emotional. Maybe I might make you laugh. But I'm going to stir some kind of emotion out of you. Okay? But I'm not going to sit here and talk about my favorite foods all day long. And, whatever. We do a real sports talk show here. And as much as I like Mario Cristobal, his problem with Josh Gaddis just told you what I just said. And by the way, I was talking about this since they got him from Oregon. I was talking about this with Herbert and going to the NFL and Oregon before all of this. Okay? Now he hired Josh Gaddis and he screwed up. Let's just call it like we see it now. Let's not make it sound like Mario Cristobal is an offensive guru. He's not. And none of his offenses in Oregon ever wowed me. Let's be honest. Okay? You may not have the balls to be honest, but I have the balls to call it like we see it. So as much as we all are rooting for the local kid, as much as I'm un Cubano rooting for un Cubano, okay? As much as we want him to succeed, as much as likable as he is, as much as if I had a son, I would be honored that Mario Cristobal coaches him up, because I know he's going to coach him up like a man, a human being, a decent human being. He's going to challenge him, all those kind of things. There's a lot of things I like about Mario. There's a crap ton of things I like about Mario. But there is one gray area. Whatever. You want to look at it, whatever you want, but that's a gray area. So this isn't just a Josh Gaddis problem. This is a Mario Cristobal problem. And he has to overcome that part and show us that he can put together a staff and an offense that's better than what he had ever at Oregon. Ever. As I've said many, many times, as much as I'm a Mario guy, and I remember what I say, okay? I've said it many times. What Mario did at Oregon is not good enough for the University of Miami. Let's just get that straight. So Mario has to be a better offensive coach than he was at Oregon. And he has to be a better head coach than he was at Oregon. And so far, his first year doesn't even come close to any of the things that he did that wasn't even good enough at Oregon. These are the ways, I'm sorry, but this is the way it's got to be looked at. At least that's the way I'm looking at it. Because for me, I know he can recruit. I know he's going to put together an offensive line. I know he can find some coaches. I need to see that you can build an offense that can be explosive. Because if you're going to beat Alabama and Ohio State and the king of the hill right now, Georgia, man, sure, you got to have a defense. And sure, you got to have an offensive line. But your offense and your offensive coordinator, you better be aggressive. And if you come in with that, conservative bullshit running the football nature, that ain't going to help, man. Yeah, of course you got to run the football, but you better be able to light up that scoreboard. And that's something that Mario Cristobal offenses are not known to do, light up a scoreboard. It's not just a Josh Gaddis problem, okay? You are blind if that's all you're thinking and going, oh, okay, we got rid of Josh Gaddis. Problem solved. Bullshit. You're lying to yourself. This is a Mario Cristobal problem, not a Josh Gaddis problem. Okay? Big O, I hope we see McDaniel and Tua smoking one of those Perdomos in the Dolphin locker room celebrating. Yes. And by the way, got to smoke a 20th anniversary and a Maduro when you win a Perdomo. If you're going to get one, at least I love the 10th anniversary. The champagne is exceptional. But for a Super Bowl, I got to go Maduro and 20th anniversary. It doesn't matter. Cristobal will be fired also. Well, that's relax here. Take it easy now. Say what you want about Herbert. He should have dominated in college, and he did not. He did not so in Oregon. That was a red flag for me. I mean, Herbert, for me, that clutch gene, I just don't see that it from him. The only it I have from him is the physical tools. But I've seen lots of guys with great physical tools. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have that it, It's crazy, but that's kind of the way it is. Bromar says, if it fails with Cristobal, I say just keep him as head coach and stop going through cycles of coaches. Well, I'm going to go with it's going to succeed. I think he'll figure it out, and I think he'll get the right people he has to get on offense. But I just want to say that because the lazy way of looking at it is that, oh, no, this is, he's got it done. And that's really not been the case. Let's see what else we have here. All right. By the way, tonight, Orlando is taking on the Heat. The Heat are favored by 7.5 points. Is everybody playing tonight? I got to tell you something. In what world should Miami be giving 7.5 points to almost anybody at this time? And the Magic, like they're like a thorn in their side. I mean, I don't like betting against my favorite teams, but if I was an investor, I would clearly take the Magic tonight +7. 8:00, by the way, for that one. Tonight, the LA Kings taking on the Panthers at FLA Live Arena. Panthers favored by 1.5 goals. Over and under 6.5. Why would the Panthers be favored by 1.5 goals? I'd take the LA Kings again. So, anyway, That's what we got going on locally in the world of sports. What else do we have going on besides Josh Gaddis getting fired? We do have, they had the premiere of Magic Mike's Last Dance, and Salma Hayek went to the premiere in a see-through dress at 56 years old. A see-through dress for that woman at 56 years old. Is that some strong stuff or what? Look at that. I got to tell you, 56 years old. Whew. Man. What do you think, Omar? She went to the Magic Mike's movie premiere, Salma Hayek in a see-through dress at 56 years old.
I mean, she's one of those baddies that will never age, though. She'll
Right?
probably still be sexy at like 65.
Her and Halle.
Yeah, you're right.
Her and Halle are the best kept stars.
We should do a Mount Rushmore. We should do an ageless Mount Rushmore. Ageless Mount Rushmore. You got two right there.
Of active women.
Yeah.
Active women.
I don't even think you can put Angelina Jolie.
We got to throw Christy Brinkley in there, right? Because she's like 68, and she's still like. Why do you do that, bro? Why do you got to do that?
Because I said no. I'm sorry, no.
She's 68.
I'm good.
Have you seen her?
Yeah, I'm good.
You don't think she looks good for her age?
It's not my cup of tea. So let's just start there.
Okay, so we're going with Halle and Salma.
Okay.
Now wait a minute. What is the age limit?
I think
minimum.
Minimum we got to go 40. Maximum we got to go 65.
There's a lot at 40, bro. There's too many.
45?
We got to go over 50. You got to go over 50.
Because Halle's not even 50.
I'm not as impressed by a well-kept woman in the 30s and the 40s. Because I'm more impressed when they're already when they get to their 50s and they still look like Salma Hayek and Halle Berry, bro. Yeah. That is impressive.
Damn, Halle's 56. Okay, we're gonna have to push up the age limit to 50.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's when it if a woman still looks great in her. That's my point, dude. Damn. That's my point.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, so we pushed up the age limit to 50, but the max is 65. I'm sorry, there's nothing over 65 I'm trying to hit.
Well, I didn't say hit, but I mean, you got to give the woman her due when she looks that good at that age. I'm just saying.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. That woman never ages. Her face is always gorgeous, bro. Like gorgeous. Yeah. I'll put Angela Bassett there. Okay. How about Elizabeth Hurley?
Ooh, Angela Bassett, 64.
Yes. How about Elizabeth Hurley? Have you seen Elizabeth Hurley? I think we've got to put her there. She's in her 50s. She's like 50. I think she's right around 56 also.
Wow. 57. Okay.
Look at that.
She's a contender.
Look at that. Look at her, bro. Are you looking at this? That's what I'm saying. That's your problem there. I've got the proof.
57.
So there you go.
She's a contender. Okay.
Well, come on, man.
I didn't say she can't be on the Mount Rushmore, but we've got two spots.
Oh, no. I'm not saying she's on the Mount Rushmore, but she's definitely a contender, a nominee, or
she's in the running. She's in the runoffs.
Yeah, some guys put Shakira's not in her 50s, bro. J-Lo is. That's a good one.
Oh, damn. J-Lo, hold on. Let's see if J-Lo
Yeah. She's like 54, I want to say. or maybe 55.
We got one spot left now.
Yeah, you got to put J-Lo in there for sure.
Got to put J-Lo in.
Yeah, Jennifer Connelly. I mean, she looks good in Maverick, but I'm not putting her in the Salma class and the Halle class. Yeah, no.
Let me see what the age is.
Yeah, but she's all right. Yeah, Shakira's 45.
Yeah. Nah, I'm good.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know. The problem with Jennifer Connelly is that there's a lot of makeup involved there. If you really look go look at Halle and go look at Salma and go look at this girl now that I just showed you, and there's this natural beauty that just they can do it without makeup, and they'll still look phenomenal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, Salma did it the other day. She did a picture without makeup. And she still looked good, dude. Like, wow. You're like, okay, damn. Cindy Crawford's pretty good. That's actually a pretty good one. She still looks good. I just wouldn't put Jennifer Connelly there. All right. What do you think about Fangio? Is it going to happen, bro? Because apparently the Sean Payton that ship is like not sailing to a lot of places.
No,
not a lot of people wanted Sean Payton. They didn't want to pay the picks, the salary, 20 to 25 million per year, plus.
Oh, that's not the salary. Don't start that. Don't start those rumors.
That's what they reported, dude.
Those are rumors. Come on, man. Listen.
Oh, okay. Whatever. But it's fixed. It's salary and the power. So apparently,
I don't think it's a situation of, and I've been saying this all week on I Am Athlete tonight. With Sean Payton, I don't think it's a situation of, oh, nobody wants to pay what it costs. No, that's not it. Everybody's lining up. Yes, it costs a lot. However, these aren't attractive jobs. I'm sorry, they're not. And if Sean Payton waits another year, he's going to pick from the Rams, the Chargers, and the Cowboys. Wait. You're making TV money. Why not wait?
First of all, I disagree with you. The Texans have a crap ton of picks besides the
nobody wants that job.
Hold on a second. They got the 2nd and 12th picks in the draft, along with other picks that they have, and they have $40 million in cap space. He can get his quarterback there right away. Carolina's got a
nobody
defense.
Wants that Texans job. It's Carolina. You're working for a bad owner and bad GM.
Those owners spend in Texans. They've just been, it's just they've had the wrong people there. That's all running it. It's like a Dolphins situation. They got an owner that'll spend. It's just you have to hire the right people to spend your money and do it the right way. That's what it is. That's what Houston has failed. Bad ownership. It's funny. You call the Chargers? Come on, dude.
Bro,
on the head you're going to call Houston bad ownership when Dean Spanos is one of the 2 worst owners in the NFL, dude.
He is.
And by the way, Jerry Jones is another terrible owner. Come on, man.
Jerry Jones is the most powerful man in the NFL for a reason. He's got the #1 value franchise in the NFL.
He's a fucking clown.
He's one of the best
fucking clown.
He's one of the best executives in terms of building a team in the NFL. So
he's
please,
a fucking clown. He knows how to
destroy on your own show.
Because he destroys his own franchise. What are you talking about, bro? He's his own worst enemy. He kills all his head coaches by cutting all their knees off.
If you're Sean Payton, you're waiting for one of the LA teams. Bottom line.
LA is going to be in cap hell. They've given up all their picks. They've got to now start trading away players. They have no quarterback. I don't know why you would think the Rams are now a sexy destination. By the way, Sean McVay's staying.
At least for 1 year. For 1 year.
Maybe you don't know.
You can't battle burnout for 2 years and then survive a third. It doesn't work like that.
Burnout at that age. That's
man.
Fun. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious, bro. It happens. Look at Arizona coach. He's
a weak ass mofo if he's burnt at this age. Okay,
nah, man. He just got
all right. His BBs haven't dropped, obviously. I mean, give me a break. Burnt out. Brother,
So, I
you
mean,
haven't
he's
been
not
at
getting
anything long enough to be burnt out. You know,
bro.
somebody that's at it for 30 years, then tell me you've been burned out.
Yeah,
But
everybody ain't meant for this life, Big O. Everybody ain't meant for that life, and they've got more than enough money to do whatever they
so
want
then
to
you're
do.
not really burnt out. You're just soft. You're not built for it. That's all. Then that's what you're saying.
Ain't no
Burnout
everybody.
is different, bro. You know
Bro,
what I'm saying?
okay,
Burnout
well,
is like Jim Boeheim saying, "Okay, well, I've done our guy right here, Jim Larinaga. The day he wants to quit, you got to say respect, bro. I mean,
bro,
you're
he's what, 70, bro? Come on, he's retiring, not burnout.
well, but that's
Like,
that's my point. At when you burn out is kind of when you're kind of retiring. You know what I'm saying?
no,
If
you
you're
just
burning out in your 30s. Come on.
okay. Sean McVay has been doing this. Sean McVay he's 37. He's probably been doing this for 17, for probably about 15 years. From the
Yeah, but he
coaching.
hasn't been a head coach for 15 years.
Oh, he's still grinding as a coach, as an assistant. Don't judge that man. If he don't want to coach no more, he don't want to coach no more. And he hasn't wanted to coach for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Money has ruined all of this shit, man. You make so much money that you can quit quickly already nowadays. I don't blame players
if you don't want
when
to
they have money and they walk away because they're trying to save their bodies, and so that way they can actually live the rest of their lives. So I understand a player, but a coach at 37, don't tell me you're burned out, bro.
But the bottom line is to answer the conversation that you began and then sidetracked. Vic Fangio, even going back to last year, everybody thought he was going where Sean Payton was going. I mean, everybody knows in the NFL community that they're a package deal. And if he's seriously considering Miami, where he shares the same agent as Mike McDaniel, it would be because Sean Payton isn't taking a job. And I've said from the very beginning, Sean Payton shouldn't take any of these jobs. There is no desirable job, and I don't see it happening for him this year. He can go do TV for $7 million a year, working 20 weeks out the season, and go enjoy his life and his retirement and his kids. Do it for another year. See your grandkids, pick them up every other weekend in the summer. Take your family on summer vacations. Travel the world for the next 2 months, and then come back next year and see what jobs are there. One of these LA jobs, more than likely. Chargers.
Yeah. I mean, well, they like Staley there. I don't know why, but they like Staley there.
For a year. They already started making him fire people. So that puts you on a clock.
I just don't see Spanos paying Herbert and that coach.
They got money, bro. They got money. They listen.
Spanos is not one of the rich owners. He's actually one of the poor owners.
All right. So is Allen. So is in Vegas. They're poor too, and they found a way to pay $10 million coach, a ridiculous quarterback. They find a way. They got money. They got money.
Yeah, and eventually they start dumping. Like they're going to dump Carr now. So, it's like they got rid of Khalil Mack. It's just I know how this and they might have to force to get rid of Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there from Devontae Adams. I came to play with my homie, and now
Brady's coming. Brady's coming, bro. Brady's coming. So it's all right. Brady's going to go there.
You might be right. I don't know.
Where else is he going to go? Really, he's Richard Gere in a Officer and a Gentleman. I got nowhere else to go. You didn't see him.
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be playing if I was him. I got 30 million waiting for me to do TV, but he's playing because he wants to play. So we'll see. See how that goes.
Right. What's the prediction? Philadelphia by 2.5 over San Francisco. Over and under is 46.5. You don't have to talk about betting, but Philly, San Francisco.
I work for I Am Athlete. We're not sponsored by FanDuel. I'm a betting man now. I'm an educated betting man. Let's start off with I'm picking Kansas City because I'm picking Kansas City to win the Super Bowl. I got money on that. Got 400 on that riding. So so I'm picking Kansas City to beat the Bengals. I'm not real comfortable about that because the Bengals are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. And
I'm
then
picking Bengals. Picking
What'd you
Bengals
say?
all. I picked the Bengals last week against the Bills. So
Yeah, what makes me uncomfortable about my bet is that Patrick Mahomes and that ankle, a high ankle, that's never good. So now you got an immobile quarterback, but he's just going to get tore all up. He's and play through it. He's got 2 weeks to rest. Hopefully they can lean on their running game, and they can stop the Bengals passing game. But that I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles. Even though I believe in in Purdy, Brock Purdy, I am going to have to go with the Eagles because I think they're one of the hotter teams in the NFL, and I think Jalen Hurts has just enough to take them over the defenses. They don't have weakness as a team.
No, they don't. They don't. And Jalen now can beat you from the pocket. And that is dangerous now when you've got a guy that can run and stay in the pocket and be accurate. I am so impressed with Jalen Hurts. And then that team is complete, Omar. They just got a defense. They got the offense. They got the running game. They got good receivers.
Every team
built that team up really well. Really well.
Every team that remains is complete.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with San Fran, you still lack the experience at that quarterback spot still.
Okay.
Because it's a youngin. It's a youngin. But we've seen, the Ben Roethlisberger in the same position. Hey, kid, just don't F it up for us. Because that's what Ben wasn't anything in the first Super Bowl. He's doing a lot of the Brock Purdy stuff. Just facilitate, kid. Don't screw it up. We'll do the rest for you. That kind of shit. And there's a lot of similarities, by the way, with Brock Purdy and the way Ben Roethlisberger was put in that first champion.
McCaffrey too. I like McCaffrey. I think that was one of the better trades.
He's a hell of a player. It's injury stuff for him. You know what I mean? That's only been the concern ever for. I don't think anybody has ever. I've never heard anybody question Christian McCaffrey's ability. It's just his availability has been really his issue, throughout his career. But I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm going with Philly. I'm not with you on the Bengals part. I think the Bengals are the hot team right now, and I was wrong. I thought they would be a one shot wonder, and that was not the case, man. Definitely not. I got to give them props. What do you got going on I Am Athlete, my man?
So we launched the season on Monday at noon. Season opening episode, which I'm in my studio right now, finally producing. We're also launching a new show called Paper Route on Tuesday. So that's going to be a daily show on YouTube, 7 to 9 right now. Replacing I Am Athlete. It's going to be on Video Element. So Ashley Nicole and Brandon Marshall are the hosts. So we're just working. We're over here grinding, man.
All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter so you can find out more about I Am Athlete. Catch him once a week here with our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange.
Fangio, you didn't tell me they're gonna lock it down.
I think they are now with the whole Sean Payton mess. Although
yes.
I think they're no. Actually, I lied. I think there's one more shoe that needs to fall. If the guy in Philadelphia, the defensive coordinator, I'm forgetting his name, takes the Houston job, because DeMeco Ryans is the lead for the Denver job.
DeMeco's not taking that Houston job. Yeah.
He's not. No, DeMeco's taking the Denver job.
Yeah.
And so the guy from Philly, the defensive coordinator there, could be taking the Houston Texans head coaching job. Well, Fangio's been consulting for the Eagles. Why wouldn't you just step right into a Super Bowl caliber team?
Because Fangio's of retirement age, and where do you come to retire?
Florida. But there's a problem here. And yesterday we had Benjamin Albright on, who obviously Broncos insider, NFL guy, and his mom's in Florida, girlfriend is in California, and she's a surgeon.
Can't move.
And she's a surgeon.
Oh.
She's like she's like a big time doctor over there. So
mom's in Florida.
Mom's in Florida, and girlfriend's in Southern California. So there could be a thing where he might take something more on the West Coast, or does he take something on the East Coast? So who wins?
I mean,
because you probably could move mom to a home over in California.
I mean, surgeons can relocate. They actually need surgeons.
It all depends on it all depends on what kind of a you are in that building, because she might be like well situated. You know what I'm saying,
bro? I'm sorry, Fangio's probably going to sign a contract for what, $4 or $5 million, and I understand listen. We're sitting there worried about
a selfish dude, bro. You just want to unearth somebody else's career. She might be. Listen, I don't know the age, but if she's 10, 15 years younger, she's got a hell of a lot more career left than he does.
Hey,
okay,
listen, you said girlfriend, not wife. Is he divorced? Is he divorced with kids?
I don't know about that.
Now you're gonna make me research.
Next, we'll ask him about Fangio's personal life.
I know about that divorce life.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Look at Tom Brady. I'm gonna look this up because I need to know if he's divorced. Trust me. Yep, he's divorced since November of 2020, brother. It'll be here.
Okay. All right.
He just got divorced.
All right, we got to get out of here. We got Ira next. Omar, have a great weekend, my brother. I appreciate you immensely.
All right, man.
You got it. Be good.
You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking for local, home, long moving services, or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms and keep up with your favorite NFL team. Keep fans. Time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All right, Ira, what's up with Fangio's personal life? Come on, cough it up. Let's go.
You know what? If mom's in Florida, girlfriend's a surgeon, there's surgeons in Florida, that can all be made to work. So,
what a selfish bastard Omar is, right? Just have the woman unearth her career, move over with the defensive coordinator. Let's go. Woman has to make move for man. What a caveman approach by Omar.
You know
right?
what? I was actually listening to you. I was listening to you and Omar there. And the one thing I will say with so much of this, when it comes to these kind of jobs, even I talked to my wife about this, there's only 32 coordinator jobs in that league in the world. There are surgeons everywhere. So a lot of us, when we're even in this job, honestly, Big O, with NBA beat writers, there's only about 60 NBA team beat writers. There's X amount of jobs. But there are a lot of other jobs in a lot of other places. So sometimes you move to where the job is available and make everything else work. So I think all things.
I just don't know what I don't know what her position is. Like, she might be like a chief surgeon. She might have, she might have stock in the company. She might be part of the board. I don't know, dude. I don't know how high up she is. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and I would say two things to that.
It's not that easy to ask somebody to unearth their career that they've established, especially
and the NFL is still a short season. It's a once-a-week season. There are airplanes. Things can be made to work. You know what? It's interesting. Guys like you and I who are long-term married guys or whatever, we're just settled in and that's it. But there's a whole different world out there, Big O. One you and I do not know and hopefully will not have to know. But if I need to go for girlfriend advice one day, I will turn to Omar. So at least I know that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh God, man, I didn't, after I took that San Francisco job and then I came back, I told my wife, that's it. I'm not doing this stuff again because it's not fair to you. And then when we had my daughter, I was like, because I went from one school to another that didn't connect to each other. Mm-hmm. The same kids, I was seeing a new set of kids when I would move because of moving or divorce or whatever. And it was a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? I'm a sociable person, so it didn't matter. I was able to get by. But when I moved to the neighborhood I'm at now, I told my wife, I'm stuck here because I'm not doing what they did to me to my daughter. So my daughter went to the same elementary and junior high and high school, or what's it called now? Not junior high, whatever the hell it's called, but middle school and all that. Yeah,
and I have followed you across the dial ever since, from the low 500s to the 10s up in the AM dial to the internet with soccer teams to over here. So you found a way. God bless you.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man. I mean, I'm not unearthing my family anymore. I'm not doing that. So, all right. By the way, I thought Jimmy was sick, but he was like hanging out with the kid, spreading his sickness all over him after that.
You know what?
Wow, Jimmy he looks so healthy after. I mean,
Jimmy
that 24-hour flu, man.
Of those physical scares. I mean, unfortunately, as you know, Big O, sometimes you get a scare and it becomes something major. Sometimes you get a scare, you go to the doctor, and you're cleared right away. That's what happened. I can tell you this. Jimmy Butler was at the arena planning to play on Tuesday's game. Something came over him, and literally he had to be helped to the parking lot. He ran into Pat Riley there. He was taken care of. He had a moment. We've all had moments where we think maybe we're having a heart attack or something like that, and something just feels wrong. That's what happened.
Are you sure it was that, or was he saw the inactive list for the Celtics and, oh, wow, they don't need me today. And that's it. And so he just, had his moment.
Always a skeptic, Big O. You know what? Let's take a look at next week when the Heat have a back-to-back Houston at home and at Orlando. When he skips one of those two games, we'll know it's load management and it's planned. And look, I spoke to Kurt Healy.
He's been doing it all year. This is nothing new. I mean, come on.
But this was a game.
I just don't want the bullshit. I just say it is what it is.
But it wasn't.
I was going to take a night off, and oh my God.
But I'm a reporter, and I know in this case it wasn't. I know it wasn't. I also respect people's medical histories and privacy here. If it was, I will tell Heat Nation. I will answer the Ask Ira questions. I will tell you on the Acura Pembroke Pines report. I will tell you on RedRecover.com Inside the Paint. You have my word. So, you know what? I'm going to put it this way, Big O. I will write Jimmy a doctor's note on this one. This was a player having a moment. It was.
All right. At least they gave the kid the moment after that. So, that was
But
good.
I will tell anyone this. The next time before you travel 4,000 miles to a sporting event, understand the caveat emptorness of the way it is
in sports
these days.
Yeah.
It is buyer beware. You just never know. There's nothing on your ticket that says we guarantee that Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero will play. That's not how sports are anymore. When it's the Super Bowl, when it's the college football championship game, you're going to see the best of the best. Regular seasons in every sport, even sometimes in the NFL, can just be BS. Late season NFL games when you're playing for draft picks, when you already have your playoff position locked up, like the Giants against Philadelphia last week of the season. There's no guarantees anymore. Pro sports regular seasons are BS. They are. Because in America, unlike in soccer, we have playoffs, and that's all that matters. In the Premier League, every game matters. You get to international tournaments. You can get relegated. There's extra money provided for you. We are a playoff society. Nothing that happens during the regular season matters at all. It's only about the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I know that's it. And let me ask you something, because this is the part I find, interesting, depressing, and, a couple of other adjectives I can probably find for this. Now that this is obviously a problem, this is not a Heat problem. This is an NBA problem that's going on.
Yeah.
So, no, mostly NBA. I mean, the NFL doesn't have load management. Hockey doesn't have load management overall. Those guys come back, they get all screwed up and they come back. This is mostly an NBA problem, a big NBA problem. So what are they saying? You've got to be talking to them, because I can already tell you, I know certain people that are not renewing their season tickets. I know certain people that they have a 3-year renewal.
Right.
They're now turning down the 3-year renewal, and they're kind of putting the heat on double secret probation by taking a 1-year renewal. And they're telling them, hey, you guys aren't giving us a product every night. There's guys that are off constantly, and we're not enjoying, we're not getting our money's worth, whether it's you guys or the opponent, like the other night with the Celtics resting half their team. And it just it's obviously the teams don't care what the commissioner says. They don't care that it's a TNT game or any of that. So this is a major problem that's only going to get worse, because we've always kind of talked about that the regular season doesn't mean much in the NBA.
Right.
Well, now you are like showing that it means nothing. Now your actions are speaking a lot louder. So I'm wondering, is there any talk behind the scenes league-wide that this is a festering problem that could become a disease for them ticket-wise?
I got to be careful how I phrase this, but I don't think the league office, the top people, give a rat's ass about tickets, or no offense, Big O, or about your friend for this reason.
TV deal.
The television deals have never been larger, have never been worth more, and the new one is supposed to be exponential. Streaming rights, something that didn't exist when you were selling tickets and only had tickets and marketing, are exploding all over the place. The digital front and all of that.
International.
So I refer to NBA arenas as sound stages. You can have fans if you want. You can play the bubble and not have fans if you want. But as long as there's a television camera, as long as there's an internet connection, that's where sports are right now. So if you're asking me, Ira, what about the fans? I would say the fans are nothing more than third-class citizens behind television cameras, behind streaming rights, and then fans. Hey, the NFL, that's what it's all about. Jacksonville, God bless them, had a great season this year. You've been to that place, you've seen it. It is empty for decades with NFL fans. But the franchise is still worth $1 billion because it's an NFL property with television rights, with streaming rights, with international marketing. So that's where it is. So you know what? The fan who was disappointed they didn't see Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and Al Horford and Jimmy Butler on Tuesday, it's kind of sad. But you know what? Turner paid the exact same price for that game as if everyone was playing. So the NFL still got its money. That's where we are right now. The fan has become a third-class citizen because the NBA is not about winning. The NBA is not about entertainment. The NBA is a business. It's business. It's about making money. That's what they do. Please always keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, that's kind of what it is right now, because it's what, and again, the TV money is what drives every sport except maybe hockey. I think hockey's still one of those.
Hockey needs the attendance. They don't have great TV deals, and I agree with that. And what drives even other sports like college football and college basketball are the atmospheres. That if you didn't have the bands and the fans, you wouldn't have that built-in atmosphere. I was even watching FAU play last night in their 20-game winning streak, and to see the fans there and to see the excitement. College has something that no one else in America can replicate because they have their built-in fandom. So that's important there also on the college level. I mean, look at the USFL. I don't know if you watched the USFL at all last season. They held it in Birmingham the entire season, even with the other teams. The stands were empty, but they still paid for TV rights. FS1 still carried the game. Fox had games. So it just shows you it's all a sound stage. You know, we're all Jim Carrey there, having everyone watch The Truman Show. That's where we are right now.
Wow. Do they plan on doing anything on the ticket side for things like that?
They have tried. But again, you know, if the league's ultimate goal is to make money, which I think you and I both agree with, teams' ultimate goals are to win and get victories. And if it means holding out a Butler or a Jaylen Brown or another player to get you to a more important place later in the season, they're going to do that. And if Adam Silver thinks an in-season tournament, it's just not the FA Cup. It's not going to change anything. Big O, when you walk into Miami-Dade Arena and you see the Heat's won the first in-season tournament, it's going to be as meaningful to you as that Michael Jordan banner and that Dan Marino jersey in the stands. It means nothing. Just like the Heat have banners for divisional championships and for conference championships. So what? There's only 3 banners at Miami-Dade Arena that are illuminated the entire time. That's the 3 championship banners. So again, fans come in third. They come in second. To be in the league, it's money. For the teams, it's about winning.
All right. One more thing tonight. Any injuries? What are we expecting tonight against the Magic? Because I almost I don't like betting against my local team, but I have a problem giving the Magic 7.5 points. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it's a clean sheet for the Heat. I think it's an important game to complete a 3-0 homestand. You know, they're in a pretty good place right now. Not only are they 6th in the East, which means no play-in, they're only 2 behind Cleveland. And they play Cleveland next Wednesday in Cleveland. I'll be doing our shows from out there in Cleveland. And so they have a chance to make a move. Big O, you can't screw up Orlando at home and at Charlotte on Sunday. You have these 2 good games in front of you because after that, it's Cleveland, it's at New York, it's at Milwaukee. This team can't spit away games like it did early in the season to Detroit and to some lesser teams. So I think this is must win for the Heat. The Magic have a lot of nice young players. But the Heat, when they scheme defensively against those players, find a way. There are no Heat players of consequence listed anything worse than probable. You're going to be without Jovic, without Yurtseven, without Duncan Robinson. Everyone else should be good to go, at least as of now, until someone has a panic attack. I don't know.
All right. One more thing. Trae Young. Now there are rumors out there. Atlanta cleaning house. Maybe John Collins. There's a Trae Young Lakers story out there. What is happening in Atlanta? What kind of house cleaning is going to happen? And any shot Miami can make a move for John Collins?
Couple of things. Travis Schlenk was in charge of the Hawks front office, doing a nice job, and then the owner decided he was going to bring in his son. We see this all the time in sports. His son wants his own people. He brings in Landry Fields from Toronto. They change their front office. They have that going on. The Trae Young situation, to me, reminds me of Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. When you get a singular star who dominates the ball, you have to get 4 co-conspirators who just want an offensive rebound, don't want the ball. Philly, when they went to the finals with Allen Iverson, had players like George Lynch and Eric Snow and Dikembe Mutombo, and had players, Tyrone Hill, who were willing to do the dirty work. Toronto's guys want the ball. John Collins wants the ball. DeJounte Murray wants the ball. Trae Young's a very hard player to play with. I think he's too singular in the way he dominates the dribble. So I think there are guys who want out of there. I think John Collins is available. I don't think John Collins is the player he once was. Maybe because he's stuck in a bad situation. Maybe because he's playing with Trae Young. But yeah, I could see Atlanta making some major moves. They give up 3 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray. They're going to have to make a move. John Collins at the right price for the Heat, I have no issue with. If that price is as simple as Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, and a first-round pick, certainly consider it. But I got to tell you this, Big O, and you're going to be shaking your head. There are some people who think for the Heat's needs that Caleb Martin is the better fit than John Collins because he doesn't need the ball, because he does defend. So again, I think you could make a deal like that if Atlanta will take it. But if you're the Heat, you have to pull back a little. Look, Caleb Martin has done what you've wanted him to do. Is under contract 3 years at $20.4 million. That's a good contract. You're going to have to save money somewhere when you're paying Bam, when you're paying Jimmy, when you're paying Tyler, maybe if you're still paying Kyle. So that's interesting. There are moves to be made by the Heat. The question is what assets they want to give up. But yes, John Collins' name will be out there absolutely until the February 9th NBA trading deadline. I do agree with that.
All right. Is there another name out there that could be realistic for Miami that we are not mentioning here?
Yeah, I think there's like the supporting piece kind of player. We've heard names like a Jared Vanderbilt, who's a hard rebounding, tough guy who can give you a 4 when you need a 4. You don't necessarily have to start him, but when you need to get physical, because here's the problem right now, Big O. The Heat don't have a backup center. God bless Orlando Robinson for what he is. I don't know if I'm trusting him with playoff minutes. We know they've completely moved off Dwayne Dedmon. We don't know when Omar Yurtseven will be back. Most teams would say, fine, we'll just move our power forward to center. Well, you can do that when it was PJ Tucker, but you can't do it right now when it's Caleb Martin. The guy is 6'5", 205 pounds. It's hard to do that. So if the Heat either have to get a backup center or, to me, a rugged power forward who in some lineups can play the 5, Jared Vanderbilt would be that type of player looking in that direction. I think the Heat will make that kind of move. To me, it's like 2 years ago when they realized they needed a little more shooting at the 4 and they got Trevor Ariza. It didn't work out in the playoffs against Milwaukee, but at the time when they traded Myers Leonard and the draft choice, I think we all thought, okay, that's a reasonable move. I think you will see something on that type of scale.
All right, right back there. There's a flag right above my finger. You see it there? It's a Miami Soul flag. Okay. So I ask because the WNBA is having, I guess, some success here. Their revenue is going up. Their ratings have gone up. Their sponsorships have gone up. They're talking about expansion again. Will Miami ever see that? Will it be the Heat organization, or could it be another entity that brings a WNBA team to South Florida? Is that something that could possibly happen?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. The money leaves South Florida in the summer. South Florida's money and sponsors go up to the Hamptons. They go out to Cape Cod. They go out to Denver and to Aspen. That's what hurts the Marlins also. Everyone tries to leave here
Greece,
in the summer.
By the way. Sometimes they go to Greece also, by the way.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Right.
Or Italy or something. What I'm saying is you get away. The money leaves South Florida. People who can, it's oppressive, get out of here. This is not a good place for summer sports. I know we have a domed baseball stadium. I know during the great seasons they would get $3 million when they first started under Huizenga. But this is just not a summer market. This is a market that goes to sleep. And you know this, Big O. You go through those doldrums in July and you can't wait for Dolphins camp to open. We're different when it comes to summer sports. I do not think this is a good summer sports market. I hope that Inter Miami can make it work with the right players. I do think they can, because
they will. They'll make it work because they'll spend money.
At smaller stadium, it's the right size stadium for that time of year also, whether it's the current place or where they're moving to. But I don't think the money is here to support another pro sports team in the off-season summer market here when it's 1,000 freaking degrees.
Yeah, no, I'm that's I just got to ask because I figured that. All right, what do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friend?
In Sunday Sun Sentinel, I'm going to list every Heat trade asset and what they have to let people know, hey, this is what they have. This is what they could deal. What do you want to put in play? The only players to me off the table are Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero. And even Tyler Hero, just because of the way his contract is written, can't be traded to the offseason. Anyone else could be put in play, but is anyone else enough? So that'll be in your Sunday Sun Sentinel online tomorrow. And I wrote a story I just posted today. The Heat have the worst offense in the NBA by scoring, third worst by offensive rating, but they're selling it in an interesting way now. But they say, hey, the scoring slows down in the playoffs anyway. We're just getting there a little bit faster. So you can read that online and in tomorrow's paper. Hey, I'm trying to sell papers. What can I say?
Hey, we'll do it. And subscribe to the Sun Sentinel and support Ira and all the fantastic writers of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, have a great weekend. We will talk on Monday.
Catch you Monday from Cleveland on our Acura Pembroke Pines Report. Thanks, Big O.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Ira Winderman. And by the way, some great lease features going on right now. The 2022 TLX, they've got a 2.9% financing right now. Take advantage. The 2023 Integra, 3.9 financing right now. The 2023 MDX, 3.9 APR right now. The 2023 MDX 10-speed automatic featured special lease, man. $619 per month for 36 months. Go check it out. They've got so many great lease features. 2023 models. They've got some great deals on 2022 models. So take advantage at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. And by the way, we got to tell you about Cutter's Edge Pro. Go to Cutter's Edge Pro on Instagram so you can get impressed. You can see my house there and the work that they did in the front yard and the backyard and the putting green that I have, which is just absolutely awesome. I mean, it is so cool to walk back there into your backyard. You've got all these trees, so now the temperature is a lot cooler, even though today is kind of cool out there, but the temperature is cooler on a hot day because we've got all the trees out there. The artificial turf is cool. It's got that special sand that they put inside the artificial turf to keep it nice and cool for the dogs. So they're playing around and rolling around, and the wife and I are, on the putting green having some fun. I mean, let me tell you something. Listen, today the streets aren't necessarily as safe as they used to be, and it's kind of crazy out there. What you want to do, you pay mortgage for your entire home, including your yard. So make it something that you can use, that you want to hang out. I can hold parties back there now. That's how cool it looks back there. That's the atmosphere that I have back there in that backyard. It's like a little oasis, right? The dogs have their shade. They can play on the artificial turf. They bring no dirt, no mud inside the house. My little dogs, they love roaming through the jungle and all that kind of stuff. It's really a lot of fun. I got a special area where I can put my barbecue and I roll it out. Boom, there. And we got a little, terrace in the back that we can hang out and relax. I'm telling you, man, call the folks at Cutter's Edge Pro. Make your backyard that oasis. Make that front yard make it look sharp and takes your house to the next level. Plus, the value of your home also goes up too. So not only are you making an investment that it's going to look great, and it's also going to give you a place to hang out, but also the value to your home goes up too. And let me tell you, if you own dogs, the artificial turf is the greatest thing out there. You go out to the backyard and you come in, you're not bringing any dirt, any mud, nothing. It drains quickly when it rains. There are no puddles. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. I love it, man. And I'm telling you, and the way they've designed it too, where they've got anything that comes through the artificial turf, they've got it leaning where it goes right into the trees, right into the plants. So the water drains right into the plants, because that's the beauty of artificial turf. You're going to save hundreds and thousands in the long run because you're no longer cutting the grass every 10 or 14 days. And you're also not watering the lawn all the time. That's money that you're going to save in the long run. Go to cuttersedgepro.com. Tree trimming, landscape design, outdoor lighting, synthetic turf. They do it all. 954-472-0622. Save it on that cell phone. 954-472-0622 for cuttersedgepro.com. All right. Good stuff as always. And we thank Ira Winderman. All right, what else do we got going on? Ira, three-point shooting accuracy is way down this year. Could fixing this be a panacea for the offense? I did not get to ask him that, but I'll tell you myself, yes, that would definitely help out to become a better three-point shooting team. There's no doubt about it. But you have too many people on the court constantly that aren't great three-point shooters. Bam, not a good three-point shooter. Butler, not a three-point shooter. Lowry, not a three-point shooter. And that's your problem. And when you have that many people constantly on the court and they're not good three-point shooters, you don't, outside of Tyler, you don't really have, Duncan would be the other guy, but you don't use him enough anymore. You don't really have a deadly three-point shooter, and you kind of need a few in this league. When they won the championship, think about it. It was Ray Allen. It was Battier. Mike Miller sometimes helped out, right? So you had guys, and then Bosch became a three-point shooter, and that helped out a little bit. So you had guys that could actually help you in that area, and you got to get more consistent in that area where you're not getting that consistently from Gabe or from Caleb. And this goes back to what I talked about before with some of these young guys. You need to play them more. You've gone back too many times to the old guys. That's been the issue. Bitcoin, by the way, holding hard over 23,000. Let's see what we got here. Kevin Beal, thank you for the love on the Venmo. Remember, Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Big O, looking ahead to the draft, I can't stop thinking we could have 2 first-round picks because of Ross and Chubb, hoping the Finns grab a middle linebacker in the second, a tight end, and a running back in the third, and a tackle in the fourth, then fifth round on best player. Kevin, that is something, I appreciate the Venmo, my man. That's something that I can't you don't know what to predict there, and you don't know what positions are going to be available and what order they have their players by priorities. They may not have a middle linebacker that they like in the second or third rounds. They may not, you got a tackle, maybe the tackle that they like won't last to the fourth. They have to take them the second. Maybe there's a corner that they really like and they take instead. It's not necessarily something you take because of what's it called, need. It's also something that you do because you got to take the best player available. What about if there is a nice quarterback that they like in the second or third rounds that they think fits their system and maybe has more upside than Skyler, and they say, well, hey, listen, if something happens to Tua, we got to have something in place. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know. Maybe there's a defensive tackle or defensive lineman that they can't pass up, and they want to increase their pass rush to help out their secondary. Don't know. So that's the thing. It's not so simple to say, well, we want this position in this round and that position in this round. It's something that you cannot dictate, because sometimes you may take a position that you can't pass this player up because he's too good, but yet you have a surplus of it, and you still got to take the best player available sometimes. So I'm with you that they need the dual threat tight end. But what if that dual threat tight end is not there anymore? You just can't go get another one just because you'll be reaching for it at that point. I think once a year, Big O should invite everyone who has donated to the platform to his house for a barbecue. Okay. That's very interesting. What about Steve Wilks for DC if Finns can get Fangio? By the way, the heck with Salma Hayek. Some of us female fans here think Channing Tatum was looking delicious on the Magic Mike red carpet. There you go. Well, I mean, but that's, Lisa, you're more than welcome to give Lisa's top 5. Okay. All right. Top 5 hot men. There you go. All right. And then you can add Channing Tatum in there. So you're more than welcome, and I'll read them for you, but I'm not going to be the guy that can determine that for you. That we'll leave that up to you. So you could be our official hottie spotter. Okay. There you go. So go ahead. Give me a top 5 list of. Now, remember, we were talking about women over 50. Channing Tatum's a young guy. He's supposed to look pretty good. He's a young guy. So that's the idea. Now you got to pick men over 50 that are good looking to you ladies out there. Okay. Big O, have you ever come across an NFL coach that was good enough to be an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator? Yeah. I mean, Jimmy Johnson would have been a good defensive coordinator. Dave Wannstedt was a good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Tatum is 42, pretty close to 50, LOL. Oh, Lordy. By the way, I'd be remiss if I did not mention it. Thoughts and prayers to Billy Packer and his family. As a guy that grew up with 80s and 90s men's college basketball, when men's college basketball was, the bomb, Billy Packer was a huge part of all of that. One of the key guys that, broke it down for us every week during the college basketball season, a guy that we all religiously, followed in college basketball, passed away at the age of 82. And I say, rest in peace, Billy Packer. And thank you for all the amazing work at an amazing time, because when I look at college basketball nowadays, it just doesn't really get me excited like it used to, unfortunately. And you young people out there, you probably can't understand what I'm talking about because unfortunately you did not live the era of the 80s and the 90s. But those of us that lived it, you know what I'm talking about. And Billy Packer was a real special part of that time. And so I saw that today, and it kind of hits home because Billy was a big part of my sports life when I was young. Because in the 80s and the 90s, my God, I was a monster college basketball fan. God, I loved college basketball. I have lost all my love for college basketball nowadays because it is a shell of what it used to be. Rest in peace, Billy Packer.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
There he is. Oh, let me make sure I take off this damn billboard there. All right, there he is.
What's happening, brother?
Not much. You doing all right?
Doing good, man. Well rested. I took some pills last night. I had this terrible shoulder pain, so I woke up to the Josh Gaddis news. I had my story ready to go for about a month. So thankfully, my editors were on the ball, ready to publish. But I'm glad it's over and done with.
Yeah, by the way, you're giving us that actor's mask, half of it dark, half of it white.
I apologize. I normally have my light on and realize it's not working about 2 seconds ago. Let me try again.
Yeah.
See if it,
Okay.
There we go. There's a little more light for you. How's that? Is that better?
Kind of. Now you're like a third of the moon now is being covered up right now. So tell me. So this is when I saw this news, I thought of you right away because you're like, well, Mario doesn't really want to fire people. He wants them to kind of move on their own.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of tells me that nobody wanted his ass. They were like,
pretty much.
Oye, we got to move on, dude. Come on, let's go. You can't find a job. You don't have a job. And then he couldn't get a job. And then they said, well, we got this offensive coordinator already in mind. We got to move on. And that's kind of the impression I got, that they were like, they bought as much time as they possibly could to avoid this, but they couldn't avoid it anymore.
Correct. I think, part of this people don't realize, because they just think, oh, he's got to worry about the program. It's like, no, coaches make these decisions months in advance or weeks in advance, and then they're already looking for the replacement. This is just like a courtesy so that the people who you hire next, look, every the coaching business is about hiring and firing. That's what it's about. Guys change jobs regularly now. It's just the way it is. And so you want the guys that you hire to know, hey, I didn't treat this guy bad on the way out the door. I didn't embarrass him on the way out the door. Those are things that leave an impression when you work in this business. So Mario is just taking that approach, right? That's sort of a Nick Saban approach. Nick Saban doesn't really fire guys either. So, that was one of his teachers, as somebody he learned from, and that's the way he handles it.
All right, so this kind of tells me also that we might be hearing about a new offensive coordinator soon. What you got for us?
Well, listen, I put out a huge list of names in this story of guys that he spoke to last time, and really, I think in the end, I know this is going to sound terrible coming out of my mouth, because people were like, coaches are so important, coordinators. I think whoever he hires, the most important thing to me, and we can discuss names in a second, the most important thing to me is find a guy who can communicate to these kids the way Rhett Lashley did, because Rhett Lashley found a way to build an offense that was simplified and allowed these guys to thrive and not think. I think what we learned with Josh Gaddis, and I think what Mario learned in year one, is doesn't have some of the brightest bulbs in the shed here as far as the roster. Kids that can pick up complicated concepts and things that need to be executed the right way. I talked to some players in the last few weeks, guys that have left the program and are always more willing to talk once they're gone. And that's exactly what they said. It was more complicated of an offense. There were issues of guys being unhappy with their playing time, all kinds of reasons why this offense sucked. And ultimately, whoever comes in has to be on the same page with the players and get the most out of them and simplify things so that they can run something they're comfortable with. I think whoever he hires to do that has to be, that guy. Now, as far as names, I mentioned James Coley because he's in an interesting situation at Texas A&M, because they brought in Bobby Petrino. He's a guy who enjoys play calling. That's one name that I mentioned as a potential candidate, one name that I heard during the process. There are others. They will all come out in time. I'm sure other people have put some names out as well. But I think right now it's speculation, because I don't know how far along he really is in making this decision of who's going to be the guy.
Okay. Do you have a name or two that you think might be the guy out of that list?
Look, it's more of a matter of when we get closer to it actually happening. Like right now, I don't think we're close to it happening. I don't think Mario's going to announce.
Really?
I don't think we're close.
Okay, no. I thought because of this, because it's taken so long to finally get to this point, that's what I thought. I thought we're actually really close to adding that offensive coordinator, because, time's running out. You've already gone through this recruiting process. He wasn't part of it and all that kind of stuff. So then, I figured that
I think there's still some NFL. I think there's still potentially some NFL guys that he's interested in speaking to. And again, like, go back and look at the calendar last year when he made these hires, especially offensive coordinator. I was one of, Gaddis and the two coordinator positions, he took his time with it. So I don't think that we're, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It probably will happen in another week or two. But as far as names and people who are out there, I mean, I provided the list in The Athletic. There's a bunch of names in there of guys that he interviewed the last time. Obviously, everybody wants Joe Brady. He's a guy who doesn't want to be in the NFL. Jason Candle was a name I mentioned last time. He's a coach at Toledo, a guy that I know he liked. Andy Ludwig, who's from Utah, the offensive coordinator over there. I know he interviewed him last time, went through the process. Liam Cohen. Those are all guys that were part of the conversation. So if you want to think of guys along those trees, those coaching trees, guys that are connected to people like that he went through the interview process, a deep interview process, talking to those guys, and there's other suggestions, guys that come from those sort of coaching trees, I think that's what he's looking at.
Brian Hartline?
He's a co-offensive coordinator now at Ohio State.
No, the offensive coordinator, not the Ohio State. The offensive coordinator at the University of Miami.
Let me ask you, if you are an offensive coordinator, right, and you're a guy or a guy who wants to be an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, receivers coach, I think in this case it's going to be a quarterbacks coach who he hires, right? Because this whole thing of making Gaddis the receivers coach and the offensive coordinator didn't work. You didn't have the communication you needed in the quarterback room. So I think it has to be again. Hartline is a receivers coach. That's what he does. He's just like Gaddis. I think it has to be.
You could have a good QB coach and have Hartline as your offensive coordinator, and
they just went through that. They just went through that.
Okay.
They just went through that. I think it's going to be a quarterback.
I just want to bring his recruiting skills here, bro.
Well, I know you do. You and every Miami fan does. But
Make him the offensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and give him a really good parking space.
Yeah, I wish. Look, what I was going to say is a lot of these guys who do this, they look at the situation now with Gaddis, right? He's the guy who just came off the Broyles Award, and now he's leaving. He can't find a job that's how bad things were at Miami. So you need a guy who obviously.
Poor guy's holding out a Salvation Army Cup now. I mean, yeah, it's really bad.
You need a guy who obviously is willing to work with Mario, and the reputation Mario has is that he messes with the offense a little bit too much. He tries to turn things into a rock fight with opponents instead of letting guys, be aggressive and throw the ball down the field, that kind of stuff. And Gaddis, in a lot of ways, was what Mario wants, a guy who likes to run the football first. I think most people in college football will tell you need to have an elite passing game to win now. And that's the part that that's why you sit here and you say, Manny, what names do you got? I don't think it's a lot of these names that I mentioned. Those are guys he went through the process with. I think it could be somebody different who's a quarterbacks coach who, is a different flavor for Mario and allows him to come out and run a different kind of offense. I'm hoping that's the case anyway.
So you're saying they're going to hire Adam Gase? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Adam Gase is the guy, right?
All right, no, because he's coaching high school right now. He needs to come back up a level at least. So, the return of Adam Gase would really inspire a lot of people in the Canes Nation, especially all those Dolphins fans. They really would love to see Adam Gase back.
Everybody wants to see Ken Dorsey here, right? And it's a pipe dream. He's running the Buffalo Bills offense. I mean, that's just never going to happen. Joe Brady doesn't want to come back.
The budget for laptops and notebooks would just go through the roof. That guy's breaking everything left out. How many did he break this past weekend when they lost? It's not a good thing. I don't know. That temper tantrum stuff.
Again, man, like I go back to my main point. Whoever the hell he gets to come in here, just run an offense that these kids can run and play fast and not feel stupid running it, not be confused. Rhett Lashlee tapped into something. That's why he's the one coordinator who's averaged over 30 points here in the last 6 years.
All right. What else going on? Anything recruiting wise that we should know about?
No, I mean, listen, they're still looking to add at the outside receiver position. They're still looking to add a defensive tackle if they can add more depth. They're still looking to add wherever they can get a cornerback, somebody who comes in and can help replace the Cormani McClain departure. So, there's lots of visits and things that are going on. I'm not as into this as I probably should be, but because I feel like, again, this is going to run out. This is going to expire in May. So like the roster to me, like all the names that are out there now, these dudes are trying to add right now, they're not sexy. I think there's going to be a lot more sexier names after spring football, guys who decide to enter the transfer portal then. And so over the summer, I think it'll get jazzed up. So there's, Gabby and Matt Shodell, all these guys do a great job. Kane Sport, 247, they track every bowel movement. I kind of cut to the chase.
Does sound a lot of fun tracking bowel movement.
every recruiting bowel movement is covered
That's a
by
shitty
those guys.
job. That's a really shitty job.
I don't want to do that. I think what makes sense is pay attention in May when the next transfer window opens up. There'll be some good names then.
Okay. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. More importantly, subscribe to The Athletic, baby. They know how to get it done there, covering college and all the major sports and some international soccer too. So go there and subscribe to The Athletic for pennies a day, man. Pennies a day. You'll probably
a lot of good national coverage, big story, like big picture stories. I mean, I did a bunch of news. Yeah, all that stuff is on there. I mean, they're putting up the news that I wrote 3 or 4 weeks ago. The stories I wrote, they're finally running them today. So they're all there. They're all ready to rock, and we'll see what happens going forward. I'll have stuff. Bruce Feldman and I will get on the phone and talk. Bruce is very tapped into the coaching ranks, so I know he talks to Josh Gaddis and other people. I'm interested to see what happened with Josh Gaddis, so maybe I'll have that story for you guys next time.
Well, Josh, I heard, is going to be the offensive coordinator for Adam Gase in high school. So
that's what it is. They're going to work together, combine.
They're going to be working together.
Combine their services.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Combine that intelligence that they've got together, and that'll really lift them to, 3-4 wins this year or something. I have no idea. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic and subscribe. Manny, have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
You too, brother.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Manny Navarro, baby, and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. And don't forget, folks, you can order, all right, at Caneswear. Like, the other day I was wearing this hat, and you guys love this hat. They've got all kinds of stuff with the Dolphins logo. They got Heat. They got Marlins. They've got Inter Miami gear. They got Florida Panthers. And they've got practically anything and everything with the Canes logo on it. You want like a neon sign for your bar? They got it. You want sneakers? They got it. You want Canes jackets, classic Canes jackets? They've got them. Hats galore. They got some really badass hats that they just got in. T-shirts galore, you name it, bro. Go to caneswear.com. You don't even have to go to the store. You can go online and check it all out. By the way, when you order over $99, you will get free shipping. So go to caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right. Edge energy drink, baby. Yeah, you want the edge? We all want the edge in life, right? You want the edge in the club when you're trying to hit on the ladies. You want the edge on the field. You want the edge in a pickup basketball game. You want an edge in your fantasy football draft. You want an edge in the bedroom. You want an edge all the time. But you can also get the edge at myedgedrink.com. Get the most delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste sports drink on the planet, baby. 78 calories. And yes, when I say delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste, I am not lying. You're gonna try it yourself. You're gonna go, wow, this is amazing. You're probably going to make it your own soft drink now is what you're going to do all the time. Go to myedgedrink.com. Take that taste challenge. Use our code Big O. Get 10% off. Get it delivered to your home, delivered to your office. Use it as an elixir. I'll be using it tonight as an elixir, hanging out with the wife and a little Grey Goose. So there you go. Go to myedgedrink.com and get the finest energy drink on the planet. Get 10% off. Use our code Big O. myedgedrink.com. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Manny looks like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now with the shadows. Yeah. Adam Gase to the U would be like Die Hard 23. There might be some fans, but it's destined to go straight to Redbox at the gas station. True Fin Fan says, how great it would be if the Dolphins and Canes were great at the same time. I hope so. It's coming, he says. I hope so, man. John Geeb, thank you for the love in the super chat. He says, do you think we've seen Tua's ceiling already, or there's another level for him to hit based on your professional opinion? John, no, what's one level over number one rated passer? He just needs to stay healthy, bro. I don't know why do we have to create more hurdles? Why are we moving the goalposts? Tua's fine. He just needs to stay healthy. He needs to take care of his body. He needs to learn to get rid of the goddamn football. That's all he has to do. He's the number one rated passer in the NFL. I'm not sure there's another number above one. I'm trying. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time I start it starts with 1 every time, John. 1, 2. It never starts with another number, John. I'm not sure. What is above 1? Don't know. In fact, what Dolphin quarterback do you know in their third season became the number one rated passer in the NFL? Not named Dan Marino. Not sure. I don't know what's above 1. That John, if he stays healthy, instead of 25, if he stays healthy with no concussions instead, like he's had every other year except last year, but if he's able to stay healthy, well, instead of 25-8, maybe you have like 35-10 or 35-7 or 8. It's not, that's, I don't need to improve his play. He's not Ryan Tannehill. He's not John Beck or something. I need him to stay healthy. That's what I need from, there's nothing wrong with his play. If you extrapolate his numbers for 16 games, it would be some impressive numbers. So I just need him to stay healthy. There's no other level for him. That's my point. 1 is the best. That's it. But how does he become even more dangerous? Get rid of the ball, stay healthy, don't take the hits. And that's it. Tua time. Big wrestling weekend, Big O. Who wins tonight? Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens and Sean. Who wins the Royal Rumble Saturday night? Appreciate you and Sean do. Thank you, Tua time. Appreciate you for the love on the super chat. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. All right, so the big wrestling weekend, Big O. Who wins tonight? Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens. And the Royal Rumble, well, Sean is not here right now, okay? So it's just me flying solo. And I'm not going to go with Solo Sikoa just because I am flying solo, okay? Can't do that. Or I can't go with Kevin Owens because it reminds me of Billy Owens, and Billy Owens was lazy. No, I'm going to go with Solo Sikoa, actually. I am going to go with Solo Sikoa. You know why I'm going to go with Solo Sikoa? Because Han Solo is my favorite character on Star Wars. And out of all the Star Wars characters, Han has always been, the cool character out of all of them. Especially when, he's at, what's that called? The cantina, the Mos Eisley Cantina. And that bounty hunter is, and he's like, yeah, what do you want me to do? And he shoots him right under the table. So Han Solo is nothing but cool, right? And Kevin Owens could be related to Billy Owens. I'm not sure. And Billy Owens had a lot of talent. I think underachieved at Syracuse. Definitely underachieved in the NBA. So I'm afraid that Kevin Owens is also going to underachieve. So I'm going to go with Solo Sikoa with the Han Solo power over Kevin, don't call me Billy Owens. There you go. That's my pick, Tua time, and I'm sticking to it, and thank you for the love on the Super Chat. John Geeb comes back with another Super Chat. Thank you, sir. He says, I didn't mean it like that, but Tom, mind you, the greatest of all time, possibly just seemed like he never stopped getting better through time. John, he just needs to stay healthy. I don't need anything else. He does that, dude. You're going to be happy as hell as a Miami Dolphins fan. Troy Ortiz says, come on, Tua may be number 1 in stats, but is he really more like 10 or 12? Plus, we all know he's going to get injured again. Well, then, are we talking about number 1? He's not 10 or 12, Troy. That's freaking stupid and ignorant. He's the number 1 rated passer in the NFL, dude. Okay? I get it, brother. You don't believe in the kid. You want him to fail because, he's going to get injured and all that stuff. But he's not 10 or 12. See, that's the problem in this world. Too many of you make shit up. Oh, the election is rigged. And then one idiot says it, one orange orangutan says it, and the rest of you morons follow up. No proof whatsoever, but let's go do it. No, he's not 10 or 12, Troy. He's number 1. Not like 10 or 12. Okay? These aren't Facebook facts, dude. He's the number 1 rated passer in the NFL. Just go look at the stats. He's all over the place. Number 1, number 2, number 3. He's all over the place as one of the best passers in the NFL, period. End of story. Whether it's tight windows, whether it's completion percentage on bombs, whether it's the game overall, whatever you want to do, the guy was one of the elite passers in the NFL. Not like 10 or 12, like 1 or 2 or 3 in practically everything. So, Troy Ortiz, you were dead ass wrong about him as a player. Okay? Because you're one of those people. So live off the injury and keep living off the injury. That's why he's going to fail. Just say that, dude. Just say, oh, it doesn't matter what he's ranked. He's a sack of injuries and he won't stay healthy. At least be honest. That's all, Troy. Don't hide behind the injury thing. Okay? He's number 1. You were wrong, like a lot of you were wrong, that he couldn't play, that he couldn't run a high-powered offense, all that kind of stuff, that he can't throw downfield. All of you that said that, you're all wrong. Just at least be honest and say, hey, I was wrong, and since I'm wrong, I'm going to ride now the injury thing, do that. Do what Joe Rose is doing now. Okay? Love Joe, but he was dead ass wrong about Tua, right? And so now he'll get on the bandwagon and talk about, oh, well, the injury and the injury and the injury. And he has to talk about the injury because he can't talk about the player anymore. Because there's nothing to talk about with the player. The player is a player. He's a stud. He's got to stay healthy. That's his problem. By the way, that's always been his problem. Some of you, like Troy Ortiz, didn't see it. You thought he couldn't play at this level. You were wrong. The only thing that is ever going to stop that kid from being successful is if he continues to get injured. Outside of that, the kid's a stud. So get over it already. He's staying here. He's the quarterback. He's the number 1 rated passer, not like 10 or 12. You don't get to make shit up. It's really amazing, dude. Han is murdered and thief. He stole from Jabba and deserves the carbonite treatment. Well, you get busted, you got to pay the price. Let's see. What else do we have here? I'm in a Twitter battle with Barry Cunningham over some similar stuff. He's using injury as a reason not to trust Tua. I trust Tua 100%. Well, injury is a reason. No, he's right. I'm not, I don't know Barry Cunningham. I don't know what the hell, but he's right. You can't, no one can argue the injury stuff. That can never be argued. And you have to say that you can't trust Tua because of the injury history. And listen, what do we talk about on this show? We can't trust Tua because of the injury history because Tua refuses to learn. Those are the facts. Tua refuses to learn how to take care of his body. The guy came back from a concussion, and what does he do? He puts his shoulder into a player. And then he comes off the field to tell the coach a stupid-ass line like, hey, coach, I needed that for me. You know what classic old parents will do at that moment? Anybody ever watch NCIS? And you watch how Harmon gives Denozo that le vuela un avión, which is what we say in Spanish, because it's a plane that's flying right past your, bam, over your head. You know, that kind of stuff, right? That's what Tua deserved at that moment. You might have concussed him, but that's what he deserved at that moment. At that moment, he deserved a coach that you needed what? Bah! Right over his head. Hey, what was that, coach? You don't need that ass wipe. You're the quarterback. Like I've said, McDaniel, you spent your time or you got the editing room to make you 700 plays of Tua doing good. Please, dude, make a tape of 7,000 plays of Marino throwing the ball away with the play clock. So you can see Marino wasn't going to. Oh, and by the way, why don't you go find highlights of Marino putting shoulders into people? You probably won't find one. Unless it was like some championship game or some playoff game that he had no choice or something like that. There was like a lot on the line because Marino's not going to do that. So I don't know Barry or whatever, but whatever, if he's saying, again, I don't want to take somebody else's word for what somebody else said. That's usually doesn't work out. But anybody that is saying they don't trust Tua because of injury history is the most objective point you can make. It's not this bullshit of Troy Ortiz. Well, no, he's really 10 or 12. No, he's number one. He's the number one rated passer in the NFL. He's a hell of a quarterback, and that doesn't go up for discussion. His problem is health. Always has been. And we can't trust him because he refuses to get rid of the football, because he refuses to learn that he's not Pat Mahomes and he's not Russell Wilson, and he doesn't have the wheels of Lamar, and he doesn't have the body of Josh Allen, and he refuses to learn that. So until he goes a season where he's constantly getting rid of the football and not running around thinking that he's some kind of, I can do this spin move on everybody and shake them off, like he's Warwick Dunn or Barry Sanders or Lamar Jackson or I don't know, any of those Gale Sayers, those freaks, those guys that just have speed galore laterally and they can do all this kind of, those kind of people are different. The Lord blessed them with footwork that Tua will never have. So he's got to understand that. So when he understands he's Drew Brees and he's Tom Brady and he's Dan Marino and he's Joe Montana and all that, he's a stiff back there. He's Drew Bledsoe. He's a stiff back there. The more Tua understands that he's a stiff back there, like all those other guys, and most of the guys I mentioned outside of Bledsoe are all Hall of Famers, but they're all stiffs. They're all statues back there. They can barely move. and they can have a career, and they can have a great career. Matt Ryan had a great career, dude. It wasn't his problem in the Super Bowl with a 25-point lead that his dumbass coach, the mentor of Mike McDaniel, did a lot of the same shit Mike McDaniel did this year. You're running the ball, and you stop running the ball, and now you have a 25-point lead, and now you don't want to run the ball. You just want to, keep throwing and giving the ball to Brady. That's not Matt Ryan's problem. That's that guy's problem. Matt is just following, the rules, the calls. Just like when you're killing Green Bay and Buffalo for 7 and 9 yards a carry, and then you decide to start passing on short downs. Huh? I mean, we got to look at things for what they are. And it's up to Tua to take care of himself. He's got to show us that he can take care of himself. And that's the frustrating part about Tua. He's super smart. He's got to understand. And he's got to understand who he is. That's what I loved about Marino. He knew who he was. He wasn't going to play John Elway style football. He couldn't scramble like Fran Tarkenton or Roger the Dodger. That's Roger Staubach for you youngins out there. I don't even know if you know who Roger Staubach is. But it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to move around like some of his predecessors or some of his contemporaries at that moment. He didn't have Randall Cunningham's wheels. Now, Randall Cunningham couldn't be half the passer Marino was, but that's a whole different ballgame. You got to know who you are. And Tua, until he knows who he is, he might not have much of a career left. That's the way we have to look at it. So until Tua learns his own lesson, and bro, how much more harder do you want that lesson to be? 1 ankle injury, 2 ankle injuries, a hip, multiple concussions. Well, when are you going to learn your lesson, dude? When are you going to stop holding on to the ball 4 or 5 seconds? When are you going to stop scrambling around thinking that you're some kind of great athlete or something? Understand who you are, dude. Okay? You're the Hawaiian version of Drew Brees. You're the Hawaiian version of Joe Montana. Make a decision quickly and get rid of the ball. Montana could not play like Steve Young. Ever. Can't scramble like Steve Young. Can't run the ball like Steve Young. Cannot break tackles at times like Steve Young would do. Now, it wasn't the smartest thing in the world because he took on all kinds of physicality, a lot of hits, and suffered a lot of concussions. But he had that athleticism to him. And he had a running back's mentality. It didn't pay off for him at times. In fact, he retired before he was supposed to retire. Probably could have played a little longer if he wasn't so reckless with his body. So it's up to Tua now. And he's got to learn to stop being reckless. So whoever that guy you're talking about is, if he's saying that, if that's what it is, or if any of you are saying that, okay, like Troy Ortiz should be saying, hey, I don't trust him because he's injury prone. That's it. Don't give me this bullshit about, well, he's not really 1. He's really like 10 or 12. No, he's 1. He's an exceptional passer. His problem is injuries. Nothing else. Not the height, not the arm, not the intelligence, not the work ethic, not the ability. None of that is a question mark. The only question that he has is injuries. And it ends there. I honestly would have rather him drop some inefficiency and played more snaps. That is my opinion, because I feel we would have won more games at the end of the day. I just want to win. Exactly, Spooky. I'm with you. Let's see what else. Tua is better than Mahomes, Burrow, or Allen. Of course, he isn't. So obviously, actually, he is a better passer than Josh Allen. Troy. I'm sorry, bro. I hate to, disappoint you on that. but he's actually a better passer than Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the better football player because he can run. But when it comes to passing from the pocket, he is much more accurate than Josh Allen. So I'm not sure what you're watching, my brother. I mean, if you want to keep burying yourself, Troy, on this, go ahead. I'll keep crushing your ass, bro. If you want, go ahead. You want to keep saying stupid shit, I'll keep crushing you. Because all you have to do is go look at everything else, bro. The stats are all there, completion percentage, all that kind of stuff. And when you watch Josh Allen, he will miss people, wide open people. And it's not like he's being pressured or anything like that. I'm not sure if you're actually watching. And, the part you don't understand is there's a difference between a football player and a quarterback. So if we're just talking about pure passer from the pocket, yeah, he's actually better than pretty much everybody else. Maybe Mahomes, maybe Joe Burrow. I'll give those guys the nod. But I'm taking Tua from the pocket almost over everybody in the league. Definitely Josh Allen. Okay? Definitely Josh Allen. Not even close. I'm taking Tua over Josh Allen. I'm not sure what you're watching. Again, you were wrong. That's all. You said he couldn't play, and you were wrong. Just live off the injury stuff, bro. Stop burying yourself more with dumb comments. Big O, next year will be 4 years covering the Fins here on YouTube, covering the second best QB in franchise history. Let's see what the future holds. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope he stays. If he stays healthy, if he learns how he's supposed to play, we'll be all right. We'll finally have a great season down here. Sorry, Allen better, Big O. Did I say that Tua was better than Josh Allen? I did not say that. I just said from the pocket, he's the better passer. He's the more accurate passer. Okay? The stats prove that. That's just the way it is. Now, is Josh Allen the better football player? By miles. Of course. There's no doubt. He's got the legs and that body that allows him to do those other things. You know what I mean? And he's got a clutch gene to him. I will give him that. Although, except in the playoffs, Josh Allen doesn't have a clutch gene. Somehow or another, he's kind of fallen short in the playoffs. After all that, he doesn't really show up in the big moments like he should. So far, Josh Allen is a regular season wonder. In the playoffs, not very impressed. I mean, he's not the choking dog that Lamar Jackson is, but Lamar Jackson's limited, All right, what else do we have here? Am I saying Josh Allen is trash? No, clutch games, I disagree. Well, I mean, playoffs so far, Josh Allen, considering all the hype, considering all the talent, considering how good Buffalo is, Josh Allen's underperformed in the playoffs. I mean, those are the facts. But it is what it is. Yeah, Eddie is right. Tua is a good player. He's no Josh Allen overall. Hell no. Allen's got the other stuff that comes with it. All I'm saying is, as a passer, Tua's better. Tua's more accurate than he is. Tua's just got to figure out how to stay healthy. He does that, then he can be a great... John Elway was a better football player than Joe Montana. Marino had a much better arm than Montana. Okay, who was the best quarterback? See, some of you have this thing with you're looking at the talent overall. Of course, Josh Allen is light years ahead of him right now. He's got the big physical tools, right? He's sturdy, he's huge, and he runs like a deer. Those are things that Tua doesn't possess. So he can't add that to his game. But neither did Montana. Montana could never run around like Elway. Never had the athleticism of Elway. Never had the arm of Elway or Marino. But he ended up being the better quarterback out of the three. I mean, those are the facts. You can look at whatever you want physically. That doesn't mean if Tua stays healthy, he will have a chance to be better than Josh Allen. Because he doesn't need, Josh Allen needs his legs in order to be the quarterback that he is, because he doesn't live solely from the pocket. And if you watch the games, very important that if you watch the games, you will see him constantly miss people. He does that all the time. That's why that petulant little child named Stephon Diggs loses his mind at times, because either he doesn't see him or he overthrows him or whatever, and he doesn't get the ball enough, and then he's crying like a little bitch. You guys some of you are mixing the talent with quarterbacking, and that's where you kind of get lost. But the stats tell you all you need to know, and when you watch it, Tua is an incredibly accurate quarterback. So that's not his problem. His problem is one thing and one thing only, and he better fix it. Let's see. 305 Domi says, can't watch your crypto show live tomorrow, but we'll watch tomorrow night. Are you taking questions? Yes, I will take questions. So if you guys have any tomorrow, and for those of you that don't know, we are starting our crypto show tomorrow, and it is called the Crypto Bro Show. So there you go. There you go. There's your Crypto Bro Show. Yes, sir. And remember,
the Crypto Bro Show is solely for entertainment purposes. Orlando Alzugari and his guests are not financial advisors or investments consultants. If you ever plan to invest, make sure you do your homework, talk to a professional, and understand investing is very risky and volatile. Good luck in any of your investments, and only invest what you're willing to lose.
Remember that.
Let's step into the world of cryptocurrency with a guy that loves to talk crypto in the world of blockchain technology.
It's time to talk crypto with my bro, the Big O, so turn it up and listen, dude.
It's the Crypto Bro Show with Orlando Alzugari.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So you'll be seeing it on Monday. I mean, on Saturday at 1:00, we will go live, crypto only. So don't bother asking me sports questions. I'm not going to be doing any sports during that time. So we'll be talking about different cryptocurrencies, some of the ones I like, why I like them. If you're looking to invest in crypto, what you got to look for. We're going to try to get guests on in the crypto universe from, CEOs of companies to what's it called? Cryptocurrency exchanges to certain reporters that, I might be able to find that actually really know what they're talking about, because there's a lot of people that are writing about crypto and they really don't know about crypto because they don't. I feel like if you don't do your homework and investing, I think you will have a problem with talking crypto and all that. You won't understand it, at times. And so those are things, I don't know, like little things like, let's say Aptos, which I'll talk about tomorrow, has exploded. What people don't realize is that a lot of the coins that are in circulation right now it's a very small group, and they're about to release a boatload of coins, which the value is going to drop drastically in the next month or two. And a lot of the people that got in early, those are the people that have a lot of them right now, the few that is out in circulation, and they're about to make a killing, and they're about to sell, and then that thing's about to drop. I think maybe I'm wrong, but these are like things like, Gala Games, You might talk about Illuvium, and you might be talking about Polygon, and you might be talking about, different blockchains. But Gala Games, one of their knocks, as much as I like Gala, is that they don't have their own blockchain. And they need that, I think, in order to really grow in this ecosystem. So things like that I think people have to understand when they're investing in crypto, and then they're comparing, why should I invest in Cardano over, Cosmos? Or should I go more into Cosmos instead of Ethereum? Or should I be more in Ethereum because they are the granddaddy of them all? You know what I mean? And so, Solana has so many issues, yet it seems to, find its way back and bounce back. So there's a lot of things to talk about, and I'll get into it tomorrow. So if you are a crypto person, I welcome you aboard. If you're not a crypto person and you kind of want to learn, because it's a very intimidating thing. I was very intimidated with this 2 years ago. And I thank Alex Dono, by the way, who was kind of the guy that inspired me, because he had a little bit of Bitcoin at that time. And it was right when it was in the very high 30s to low 40s, and it was starting to climb, and it went all the way to 67,000. And so now we're at 23,000, and to me, it's been a blessing what's happened the last 14, 15 months, because it's given us a time to be able to accumulate and get ready for the next bull run. And I think it's been awesome. So there you go. So we will be talking a lot of crypto tomorrow at 1:00. It's another one of my passions. It's something that I follow heavily, and I just think it's going to be an enormous part of our lives. So we will start at 1:00 on Saturday. Now, the show will not be every Saturday at 1:00 or anything like that. I may do another show in 2 days or 3 days. I don't know yet. So, but it will be on this channel. Hit the notification bell. You'll find out about it. We'll tell you when the next show is here on the regular channel. Okay. So there you go. Let's see. Eddie says, "Oh my God, a crypto show. You better put more than those disclaimers, Big O." I don't need to put more than those disclaimers, Eddie. I'm fine. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. You do your own homework, bro. You lose your money, that's your freaking problem, not mine. I ain't telling you to invest in anything. I'm not putting a gun to anybody's head. You do your own damn homework and all that. I can talk all I want about crypto. It's entertainment and information. I am not an investor. So if you lose, that's because you didn't do your homework, Eddie, and you're a dumbass. That's pretty simple. It's not my fault. See, you're already blaming me for something you haven't done. Think about how freaking stupid that is. Think about that. Think about that. You're already blaming me for your stupidity. So it's up to you, man, not me. I don't need any more than a disclaimer and me telling you I ain't a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes crypto. You know what I mean? I'm not a sports god or anything. And you could take my opinions on sports, and I might be right. And hell, I'm going to be wrong a lot. Guess what? That happens. Hey, I liked BitTorrent until what's this fool's name from Tron? Justin Sun took over and ruined that. And BitTorrent had potential until Justin Sun, who shits everything that he touches, and that's why I wouldn't invest in Tron. And what's the latest thing that he's part of? Anything that Justin Sun's involved in, I would stay away from. That kind of stuff. These are the kind of things we'll talk about on the crypto show. Double T Sports. Does Tua ever throw with his right hand? Do other quarterbacks throw with their left hand? Any other stupid questions you would like to ask Double T Sports? Music show is coming, dude. Dude 67. That's also next. We're planning that. It's just give me a moment. And I've already got guests and all that for that too. That one actually I've already got some stuff already planned ahead of time for that one, but I haven't. Let me get this one rolling, and then we will add the music show to the mix. Okay, we'll do that. By the way, EJD Construction, a proud sponsor of our program, 305-433-4843. Custom home construction and major home remodeling. Listen, they rebuilt our wall here. They did everything here in our house and did a sensational job. And I know that some of you out there, I know one of our listeners has an observation deck that he built. Another one, he built a complete hut in the back that has a full kitchen, a barbecue, and a grease trap. I mean, really sick stuff. Some of you have gotten additions. There's one of our listeners had a fire, unfortunately, in their home. And so now you have to gut it and you have to remediate everything. He does all of that. Some of our listeners, as I've been telling you, you need to re-up your hurricane policy. And what are they telling you now? Well, wait a minute. Your house is a little too old. It's over 20 years. You need to go through another inspection and you need to bring it up to code. If it's not up to code, then you need to get it up to code before we can give you the policy. Well, guess who can bring it up to code? Eric at EJD Construction. 305-433-4843. I'm not talking about a handyman. So don't call him about, fixing a doorknob or something. I'm talking about, an addition to your home, a second floor, remediating the house, remodeling your entire kitchen, major home remodeling and custom home construction, full contractor. They do it all. Quality work and shell construction too in-house. That's how they keep the cost down and they save you money. Call Eric right now. This is his cell number, 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for ejdconstruction.com. All right. Let's get ready to rock with the one and only Scott Pianowski.
PPR, Draft, Keeper, Dynasty. It's the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Scott Pianowski. Keep up with your fantasy football teams by visiting any of the 8 great Sports Grill locations. Sports Grill, good food, good drink, good friends. Here's Scott Pianowski.
All right, we are ready. Hour number 3 of the program. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm doing great, man. Excited. We got 4, excellent teams. This is the lowest the combined point spreads have ever been in the championship round, which just shows you the quality of competition that's left. We're going to have a great Super Bowl matchup no matter what, and I can't wait to watch these football games.
All right, so let's before we get into some of the stuff that we normally get into, let's talk a little bit on the Dolphins side. Let's get into of course the defensive coordinator. What do you think about the Vic Fangio stuff going around?
I can see it. It shows you. Look at all the playoff teams that have changed coordinators, right? I mean, it's not good enough now to be a contender. It's not good enough to make the playoffs. The idea is to win a championship. If you feel like anybody on your staff isn't part of your next championship roster, I think you have to think about upgrading. So Fangio's a guy. He was a failed head coach, but that doesn't mean he can't be a really good coordinator. We've seen so many of those, right?
Lovie Smith, Wade Phillips,
Norv Turner.
I mean, it goes on and on.
McDaniels is going to go back in that pile in a year or two, probably, right? That's why I thought the Jets hiring Hackett was interesting, right? Yeah, awful head coach. It doesn't mean he can't be a good coordinator. So I get it. I think Fangio would be a good addition.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fangio would be a fantastic addition. We were talking with Ben Albright yesterday from KOA out in Denver, and he kind of knows a lot about what's going on. One of the things he told us about Fangio was that his mom is here in Florida, but his girlfriend, who's a surgeon, she's in California. So, it's like one of those things. Does he stay in Philadelphia if the defensive coordinator goes to Houston and takes that head coaching job because he's kind of the top candidate there? Or does he take the job here in Miami where he's kind of closer to the mom? And then I guess he'll commute back and forth with the girlfriend. She can commute, he can commute, that kind of stuff. Or does he go out west and take a job, out west that somebody might be interested in? That's kind of the thing. And the Sean Payton stuff going on. Does he go with Sean Payton? And right now, brother, it looks like Sean Payton is having trouble finding a home. So this Fangio thing might work out for the. I almost think like the Dolphins are the third option. It's either you go with Sean Payton, or then you become the Philadelphia defensive coordinator, and then Miami after that. I almost feel like it's that.
Could be. I don't think there's a landing spot for Sean Payton. Now, he's going to be a hot commodity whatever year he goes back into coaching. Obviously, they still have to figure out compensation for the Saints as long as he's under contract for them. But I don't think the Denver spot, and I'm curious what Ben said about that, I don't think it's a perfect fit for Payton. I think Sean Payton's going to be announcing for another year.
Oh, Ben said that he's not the candidate there.
Yeah,
they're not.
I think so.
D'Amico Ryans is the guy apparently for Denver.
The San Francisco defensive coordinator. He's going to be a head coach somewhere. You just hope with a guy like Ryans, you just hope that when you first get that first head coaching job, I wouldn't want to be Houston. I would love him to go to a place where he could win. Maybe Denver is that spot. They did have a great defense last year. The problem obviously was the offense. It was a horrible season for Russell Wilson, and whoever takes that job, the key is you got to hire an offensive coordinator who can put Russell Wilson back together again.
So are you seeing are you like fantasy players are looking at some of their players involved with the Jets, the Hackett thing? Does it look to you like they're trying to get an inside track to get Aaron Rodgers now?
Yeah, I mean, connect the dots, right? They had a great working relationship, and I think Rodgers and the Packers are probably ready to break up. It would be a good cap savings for the Packers as well. We've seen this story before, right? Brett Favre went there. That was his first step after leaving Green Bay. So it seems to make a lot of sense.
Well, he wanted to go to Minnesota, but they refused to trade him there. So they sent him to the Jets, and then he ended up in Minnesota anyway.
What people forget about that Favre season is they were 8-3, and I think it was a shoulder injury. Favre got hurt at the end of the year, and then they basically took the pipe the rest of the season. And then he goes to Minnesota and had a MVP contention year in 2009. He finished fourth in the MVP behind Manning, Breeze, and Phillip Rivers. In a lot of years, he would have had an MVP. Had 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, something like that. So Favre did have a really nice landing. And then he was terrible the next season. Everybody remembers the pick he threw in the NFC Championship game that year. But I think Aaron Rodgers is changing teams. I think Tom Brady's changing teams. We just saw an absolute crazy offseason last year, right? And Wilson changed teams, and all the receivers. You guys got Tyreek Hill, and A.J. Brown moved, and Devontae Adams left Green Bay, which shocked everybody. This year it's going to be more of the same because Rodgers and Brady, I don't think they can come back. Maybe the Green Bay thing could be figured out. If Brady plays next year, it's not going to be in Tampa Bay.
Well, it looks like probably the Raiders is what
I think so. McDaniels, Devontae Adams, maybe Darren Waller has another good season for us. There's better infrastructure. Tom Brady, look, the guy, he's one of the greatest of all time. You could say he's the GOAT. He's certainly in the conversation. But when you're in the mid-40s, you got to have perfect setup. You got to have, in Tampa Bay, they've kind of aged out, right? Leonard Fournette's going to be a salary cap cut. Mike Evans is a great player. He's in his 30s now. They didn't get a great season from Godwin. They obviously missed Gronkowski, and the offensive line wasn't perfect. So Brady doesn't want to get hit anymore. He doesn't take sacks. He gets rid of the ball. If the play isn't there right away, he throws it into the ground.
That's what we're hoping Tua learns how to do, by the way.
Yeah, sure, for sure. So I can see, McDaniels and Brady seems like and plus, Brady already has Pirate experience, so it seems like that's. And it's funny, Big O. You can talk about like athletes who ended their careers in weird spots. Jerry Rice is a Seahawk, or Shaq was on the Celtics, or Patrick Ewing was on what the Sonics, I think it was. Were you in the Heat too briefly? I forget. But some of these guys, it's going to be like, oh, remember when Tom Brady played a season with the Raiders? Or remember when Aaron Rodgers played a season with the Jets? I mean, we're looking at some of that stuff. It isn't always pretty. Manny Ramirez was on Tampa Bay, I want to say. Just some of these great things. Ken Griffey on the White Sox.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. All right. So we look at the Brady situation. Are you shocked that Sean Payton is having trouble finding a home?
No, it just you want the right jobs to be open. Sean Payton's not going to go to Houston, right? Sean Payton's not going to go to a rebuild. He's not going to go to the Colts and never.
Shit, but they've got the 2nd and the 12th pick in the draft. They've got extra picks on top of all of that. They've got $40 million in cap space. He can get his young quarterback right in year 1. He's not going to have to trade.
Maybe that's a statement. Maybe he doesn't see the quarterback he wants in the draft too. That's entirely possible. If he's not sold on one of these guys, I think Sean Payton wants to helicopter.
I like the Alabama kid, but he's small.
Yeah,
he's small. He's smaller than.
Small.
Yeah, he's smaller than Tua.
It's certainly a concern. I would rather have Stroud myself.
Yeah. It's just like, wow. Okay, I like him, but man, he's actually like really small. He's going to have to, overcome some
and
real
you wonder,
stuff.
Right? What just happened this year, right? I mean, Kyler Murray had a messy season. Russell Wilson had a messy season. It's not like you can't win with a smaller quarterback, but you really need to scheme around it, and a lot of things have to be in place. And if that Jenga puzzle misses one piece, a lot of it can easily collapse. I wonder if that's making some people nervous.
No, of course. I'm with you there. All right, we got it so far. Line going into Sunday. Eagles are favored by 2.5. The over and under is 46.5. What do you think about that game?
I think it's going to go under. I think this is going to be 20 points will go a long way in this game. We have not seen Brock Purdy be challenged, really. Play under duress, have to chase a game. The Cowboys had a chance. The Cowboys easily could have had like a 10-point lead at halftime of that game, and they blew it. They were behind at halftime because Dak threw another pick, and the Niners got that late field goal. And then the second half, San Francisco, we see how physical they are and how well-conditioned they are. They really put teams away in the second half. That power running game, McCaffrey, even Eli Mitchell. I don't know why he was running out of bounds at the end of the game, but he was sure running well at the end of the game. So I think San Francisco is going to try to make this a guts match, a power football game. I think George Kittle is dead under this week. He's going to be blocking a lot. He's going to catch like 3 passes. And Brock Purdy probably throws for like 165 yards. San Francisco wants to make this a rock fight.
Okay. All right. And then the other one, it is Kansas City, now favored by 1.5. It was Cincinnati favored, but then after that whole podium and practice thing by Mahomes, now the line has gone to 1.5 KC at home, and then the over and under is 48. Where are you going?
Yeah, it's been a ping pong match, right? As you said, the lines jumped all around. At one point, Cincinnati was favored, I think, by 2 points. But of course, when the line's this low, you're really just picking the winner. The key is going to be who's going to step up for Kansas City. The Bengals are going to do everything they can to make sure Travis Kelce's not catching 15, 16 passes again. I mean, I think he's going to be down to like maybe 4 or 5. Does Juju Smith-Schuster step up? Does MVS make a big play this week? Did the running backs get involved in the passing game? Very little McKinnon last week, which surprised me. I have to take the Bengals with a point. I mean, I know 1.5, 2 points isn't a lot, but I love what they did with their offensive line was the big concern into the Buffalo game, right? And then you watch that game. Not only did you never think about the offensive line, but Joe Mixon looked the best he's looked in like 2 months. And there's a certain gravitas to Burrow. He doesn't shy away from these moments. Not that Mahomes does. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a great player. He's the best player in the league in my mind. He's going to waltz to the MVP trophy. He's already been named AP Pro Bowl quarterback, which is basically what the MVP ends up being. He's going to win that. He may even be unanimous, but they've lost to the Bengals 3 straight times, including a game this year. And the Bengals, I think they're going to force Kansas City to beat them with their second and third pitches. And even though Mahomes had an MVP season, they haven't had a consistent second or third pitch this year. I have to lean Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. So let's get to a couple of fantasy plays. Let's start off with the San Fran game. Brock Purdy. Let's go with 220 passing yards, higher or lower.
Oh, man, that's an easy under for me. They are not going to ask him to throw more than 30 passes unless the game gets out of hand. And I think with the San Francisco defense, top 5 defenses in this game, the game isn't going to get out of hand. They are going to manage Purdy. Now, the thing that's tricky about this is that they can manage him and he can throw a slant pass to Debo and he might take it 70 yards at the house. The skill talent in San Francisco is so good with McCaffrey and Ayuk and Kittle and obviously with Debo Samuel. But I think this Kyle Shanahan is not going to put this game squarely on the shoulders of Brock Purdy unless things have gone horribly wrong in the first half. That's an easy under for me.
All right. Christian McCaffrey, 4.5 receptions, higher or lower. 57.5 rushing yards, higher or lower, and 32.5 receiving yards, higher or lower.
I like going over. And this may sound counterintuitive because I was just saying go under on Purdy, but I like going over on the McCaffrey receiving props because they're going to want to hit an easy button. If stuff's taken downfield, they're going to say, look, there's nothing wrong with a check down. We'll take 5 yards of McCaffrey anytime we can get it. And every once in a while, those turn into 15-yard gains. This is going to be a game where I can see McCaffrey catching like 6 passes. I think his receiving props are in play.
Okay. Deebo Samuel. Let's go with 51.5 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions, and let's go with 21.5 rushing yards. Higher or lower on any of those?
Yeah, definitely lower on the rushing yards. I think it's going to be a case of he might beat the receiving yard prop, but he's not going to beat the reception prop because I don't think there'll be enough volume in the passing game. The 2 unders I like there, I'd go under on his receptions and under on his rushing yards. He might beat the receiving prop because, again, he catches 1 pass with a little bit of steam under him and he gets an angle on a defender. He might make a 25-yard game with it, but I don't think it's going to be a big Deebo volume game.
All right, George Kittle, 4 receptions, 46.5 yards receiving.
Yeah, he's going to be an offensive lineman this week. George Kittle's going to end this game with 3 catches for 31 yards. I think he's, again, because they don't want Purdy to have to steer the game, and the defense is so good that I think this is going to be like a 2017 game. I think the game total under is a great play. And George Kittle, the great thing about Kittle is that he doesn't care. He would block every down. He doesn't care. He just wants to win. He's just a football player, and he's not going to complain. He's not going to, you saw all that stuff Stephon Diggs was doing after the game last week, was complaining and everything. I mean, whatever. He wants to win, and I don't hold that against him, but George Kittle will do anything you want. He'd play linebacker if you asked him to.
All right, Jalen Hurts, 1.5 passing touchdowns, 0.5 interceptions, 250.5 passing yards, and 46.5 rushing yards. Higher or lower?
I like going under on the rushing prop, and I like going over on the passing interceptions. Just thinking this is the biggest game he's played in. He plays in a playoff game last week with the Giants. Like, nice story. They made the playoffs. I don't know how Brian Dable did it because that was not really a significant contender. They beat the Vikings, who were a fraudulent team. Good for you. And, Dable's a hell of a coach. Daniel Jones took a nice step forward. He's going to get a big bag of money. But they went to Philadelphia and just get totally outclassed. Hurts has not been in this kind of stressful situation before. I think he throws in early. I think you'll win that interception prop early. And I think he'll go under the rushing. It's dangerous to go under with a mobile quarterback like Hurts. And a lot of times in the playoffs, these quarterbacks run more aggressively because what are you saving yourself for? But I expect Ryans to have a spy for Hurts all game. They're not going to let Hurts have those easy 13-yard runs that he gets against so many teams. They're going to make sure he beats them with his arm. So I think you're going to see a pick from Hurts, and I think you're going to see a low rushing game from Hurts, surprisingly. And the other thing, too, is even if you bet the under on him, if the Eagles win the game, he may have kneel downs at the end of it, then you lose like 5 yards. So there's like a kickback there. If you want to bet the under on the rushing prop, I say wait until kickoff. I think the number goes up, and then you hit the under right before. Basically, generally the rule of thumb is if you're betting overs, get in early. If you're betting unders, get in late.
Okay. That's good. That's good advice right there. Miles Sanders, 52.5 rushing yards, and Kenneth Gainwell, 11.5 rushing yards after last week. So what do you got for me there?
I love Gainwell there because I think what's going to happen is Sanders is going to run up against this brick wall, and they're going to be spying Hurts, and eventually they're just going to sprinkle in Gainwell for some change of pace carries. I think he'll get 4 to 6 touches in this game. Granted, the Niners defense is so strong, he can maybe carry it 5 times for 10 yards. That's in play, but Gainwell looked really good last week. I don't think they can unsee that. I think he has a role in this game. 11.5. When you said Gainwell's name, I thought to myself, I'm really curious what this number is. I think I could take it up to maybe 20 yards or something like that. Yeah.
Why do you think I brought it? Why do you think I brought it up? Because I played the higher in that one already.
Yes, I would get it again. You want to bet over as you go in early, so that's one you look up.
No, here's the other thing that you didn't mention that I'm sure you probably are thinking in the back of your. What about an injury happens to Sanders?
There you go.
And then you have
no
fumble,
choice. Right? What if Sanders fumbles or something, right? Injury or fumble, and all of a sudden Gainwell's your featured back, and he ends up with 7 yards.
Right, yeah, exactly. So to me, 11.5 yards is a freaking joke. All right, A.J. Brown, 71.5 yards receiving and 5 receptions.
Because I think the game's going to go under. I could never bet over in those games, on those totals. I lean under. More on the
Okay,
reception.
how about Dallas Goedert? Because when you are facing tough defenses,
Middle of the field,
tight ends become high percentage passes for young quarterbacks to running backs and tight ends. Dallas Goedert is at 4.5 receptions and 45.5 yards receiving.
Yeah, I think he'll beat that receiving number. This is the best over I see on this game is that Dallas Goedert will be somewhere in the 50s in receiving. I like that. I agree with you. When the downfield stuff is not available, it's take the
check down Charlie, baby. Yeah,
and the tight end is always open because you can't, even if there's a guy on them, he's not 6'5".
Right, and he can body the guy and separate between him and the bomb.
That's why all those tight ends are all former basketball players, right? They're all power forwards.
That's right. All right. What's it called? Joe Cool, half an interception. 297.5 total yards, and we'll go with 277 passing yards.
I lean over. I don't think much of the Kansas City defense. The big thing is going to be if they get Mixon going, they're going to have a balanced offense. If they don't get Mixon going, Burrow's going to throw 45 passes. My tendency is to think that what Mixon did last week is not repeatable. He hasn't really had a great season. He had one game where he scored 5 touchdowns, but it wasn't a great fantasy season for Mixon. So I think Burrow is going to steer the offense. I think he'll go over the passing prop. But if he doesn't do it, it's because Mixon was more effective than I expected.
All right, so Mixon, they've got him at 59.5 rushing yards and 14.5 attempts.
Yeah, he might get the attempts, but I think you go under on that because if Cincinnati will not say, well, we're getting 2 yards a run, let's just keep running it. At some point, they'll junk the running game, and maybe Kansas City scores enough that they force a track meet. This will be the higher scoring of the two games. In part because the defenses, right? I mean, the Bengals are a shade above average and the Chiefs are below average on defense. They're easily the worst defense that's on the field this weekend. So I think it's going to be a lot of throwing in this game. I don't think it's going to be a game where either team controls it on the ground.
All right, Jamar Chase, 7 receptions, half a touchdown, and 83.5 yards receiving.
I like the touchdown. That's where I would go. Because Chase can beat you down the field, and he can also beat you in the red zone. He's really good in the space. And before the season, we thought, okay, well, Chase is the 1 and Higgins is the 1A. It's a 1 and a 2. Chase is the 1. In fact, I have colleagues of mine who think Chase should be the top fantasy receiver drafted next year. And obviously, Justin Jefferson's a candidate there. They played together. Just crazy to think that Burrow, Jefferson, and Chase were all together at LSU on one team. It just seems unfair. And somehow the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson, which I will never in a million years understand because Reagor wasn't even that good at TCU. But I digress. Chase has scored a touchdown this week.
All right, T. Higgins, 4.5 receptions and 57.5 yards receiving.
Yeah, because that number's adjusted.
I kind of like that number.
I just said Higgins is the 2, but if you're going to push that number that far down to me, I think he can get the 60 yards. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. He's going to be somebody's number 1. That guy's headed for a $15+ million payday in free agency. He's not going to stay there. He's going to go somewhere else. One more, Hayden Hurst, 4 receptions or 35.5 yards receiving.
If you can get 3.5, I'd go over on it, but 4 is a no play. I would lay off that, but you may find a 3.5 somewhere. If you can get that, that means 4 is a winner for you. I could take that.
All right. Pat Mahomes, half an interception. They do have a lot of turnovers on that team. 284 yards passing. Man, I love the interception, actually.
I do too, because the thing is, the gift and the curse of Mahomes.
Right.
That even when somebody's not open, you might think, well, I'm Patrick Mahomes. I can make that throw. I'm Patrick Mahomes. I can turn something that looks like a dead play into a live play, and you live with it because usually it's a good thing. But he only needs to make one, screwy throw or one pass that's not in the right spot. It's deflected. It hangs up in the air for it feels like an hour. Those things are always, if they're going to get caught, when a pass is deflected in the air, that's when they get picked. I can see him throwing a pick here. I like that too.
And Cincy secondary is playing ball. Okay,
they made the Bills look like a 5-12 team.
Okay,
they dominate that game. I was shocked. Buffalo. Just to digress for a second, they are a dome team that plays outside. They're such a finesse team. They did not want to get punched in the mouth, and that's what Cincinnati did for 3 hours. They punched him in the mouth.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, Pacheco, 48.5 yards rushing. Jerick McKinnon, 4 receptions or 30.5 yards receiving.
Again, if you get 3.5 on McKinnon, I could sign off on that. I was shocked he wasn't used more in last week's game, but of course the game got off script because Mahomes got hurt and he had to play. Then Mahomes comes back, but he's not healthy, and they had to shield him from all sorts of stuff. I think McKinnon will be more involved. I'd like to see those numbers go a little bit lower. I'm not sure if there plays there, and I actually don't like the Pacheco play either, so I'm going to pass on most of that. But if you got 3.5 on McKinnon, I could take it.
All right, one more. Travis Kelce, 7 receptions, half a touchdown, and 78.5 yards receiving.
My strongest play of this game is go under on the 7. The Bengals will not let him do what he did to Jacksonville. He won't let that Godzilla in New York thing will not happen this week. They're going to make sure. And actually, if you can get Juju, I don't know what Juju's number is, but I think Juju is going to probably lead them in receptions this week. Not by choice, but kind
4.
of necessity. Yeah, well,
it's
that's
4.
Easy. Punch that over all day.
Okay, there you go. All right, good stuff there. What do you got going on in Yahoo?
I'm actually off this week, so I don't have anything going on, but we did do the normal Yahoo Fantasy Football forecast. The guys previewed all the games and picked all the games. I'll be back Monday. We do a wrap podcast on what we saw this weekend. Fantasy baseball is just around the corner. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes for that, so if you're a fantasy baseball player, come over to Yahoo Sports.
There you go. Appreciate you as always, Scotty. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the football, my friend. You're a stud.
I enjoyed talking to you, Big O. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, my man. You're the best. There you go. Scott Pianowski, baby. Gotta love it. Don't forget Sports Grill. $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles during the NFL games. They've got these new cocktails that they added, the cherry lemonade and the tailgate tea, $5 only during the NFL games. $12 domestic pitchers and bone-in wings, 15% off. The Doral location is open. It's rocking. It's awesome. You got to go check it out. The buttermilk chicken sandwich. They just added that to the menu, and it is absolutely delicious. Lots of people are ordering that the last couple of months since they added it. And, Sports Grill is known for their sauces. They've got some of the best tasting sauces out there. That's why their wings are so popular. The special grilled wings are heaven. Well, the buffalo sauce, the Miami heat, the blackberry, the barbecue, the dale. They've got all those sauces where you can take them home now. Douse anything and everything. Douse your loved one with it and eat them up. Sports Grill, baby.
You've been listening to the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Scott Pianowski. Go to sportsgrill.com to find a great location near you. Fantasy football fans, subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on YouTube and all other platforms to catch up with all our fantasy football insight provided by Scott Pianowski and Andy Behrens.
All right. Nature B is for me. Don't forget, baby, 2 months right now, $66, but we're going to throw in the 3rd month for free and free shipping. That is crazy. Less than $1 a day. It's like 70 cents a day or something. It comes out to 3 months. 2 months normally for $66. We're going to give you the 3rd month for free and free shipping. And we tell you all the time about Nature B. I've been taking it for 20 years, baby. You will love it. Boost that immune system, gives you that energy you need. But what I love, again, boosting that immune system, that is the most important thing for me out there. And then, of course, stronger nails, fuller hair, great for the digestion, great for the creaky bones. Those of you that are active, you're going to love using Nature B. Go to natureb.com. Check out all the other products, by the way. They've got some other great products like the Nature B soap. Let me see. I will be taking this to Mobile with me. My lip balm right there from Nature B. I know I got that in my bag over there. But they've got the lozenges, which are just absolutely. I mean, they've got so many things. The wrinkle cream. My wife loves the wrinkle cream. For you ladies out there, go to natureb.com and go check it out. And plant pollen comes straight from Mother Earth, from clean green New Zealand, baby, not made in some lab or anything like that. So kids can take it. You can take it. You can't OD on it or anything. So if somebody grabs it and takes 15 of them, they're just going to be really healthy. That's it. That's what's going to happen. natureb.com. All right. Let's see. I believe both teams will play tight until the 3rd quarter, and then they will open it up. Let's find out. We will find out. Brett Dodger says, here's a QB we can draft in the future. Bellevue East High School's Mickey Gow, who can throw equally with both left. Oh, I saw that kid. Yeah, I saw that kid. Now, remember, there's a lot more to quarterbacking than just throwing, but it is impressive that he can throw with his left and his right, and accurately, too. He runs around and everything. I saw the video. Really good stuff. What do we got here? What else do we have? Bitcoin going over 23,000 to 23,172. I like it. Matic is up 8%, up to $1.17 right now. Not bad, not bad. What else? Anything really shooting up right now? Chainlink is up 4.5% to $7.32. So you got a couple things up. ETH is down just what is it? Not even a percent, but it's down just a couple of points. Not too much. A lot of things in the green, but not necessarily going crazy right now. The stock market, by the way, the Dow is up 52 points to 34,001. S&P is up 13 points to 4,073. So you got some good news so far in some of the markets right now. Hopefully we're bouncing back. We will find out. All right. You know what? Let's get into talking a little Miami Dolphins and a little Canes. We've got, of course, Cameron Wolf. Let's unleash the Wolf Pack.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
Oh, yeah. There he is. How you feeling,
What's up, Bo? How you feeling, baby?
Good, man. Can't complain. It's Friday, man. Get to relax. Although we are debuting our crypto show tomorrow at 1:00, okay. So I am going to do a little work. Okay. We're going to start. You should watch it. We're going to do introductory stuff.
The market has been so bad this year. I need whatever tips I can get on what's turning things around.
Learn about crypto. Hey, man, in a couple of years, when it takes over all over the place, you're going to go, I should have listened to that crazy son of a bitch. And you're going to regret it, but that's all right. That's all right. But
I'm listening. I'm watching. I will say I think I started listening at the wrong time. I started listening about 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah, in the middle of the bear market, yeah. But little did you know that was the time to invest. The last 14 months have been a buying zone. Now, see, the thing about investing is that, and anybody will tell you this, you're going to go buy a property somewhere and you're done. Well, you maybe want to go to a place that maybe it's a neighborhood that might be a little bit run down a little bit because you might get a better deal, or you're also anticipating that it's a neighborhood that is now being, what is it, gentrified or whatever? What's that called or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're kind of, and you're kind of foreseeing it, saying, if we buy a property now, we're saving money. And but look, in a couple of years, that area is moving all the way here, and then Midtown. Like a lot of people probably invested in Midtown in times when Midtown was like not a great area. Now what's Midtown? Now you want to live in Midtown, hang out in Midtown, go to Midtown. It is the area.
So you mentioned Midtown. Obviously, that whole area, Midtown, Wynwood. When I first moved down here, I moved to Edgewater. And Edgewater was just starting building up. This was like 5 years ago. And the place the condo that I was renting there now literally goes for double the rent from 5 years ago. And so that area I know is blossoming. And so, you're right. Wish I would have had the money to buy at that time in that place. I would have made a boatload of money, but
there's still some values right now that are going on. I still think Bitcoin is a terrific value at 23,000. But Tesla, we were talking about it on the show here, it was down to $109, $106.
Yeah.
And I was saying, you don't know where the bottom is, but this is a value now. I was like, wow, man, if it gets to 100, I was like, maybe I'll start getting a Tesla. You know where Tesla is right now? $176.
So it's almost double, 75% up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you look at it and you go, let me see here, a month. This thing was at $107. What? Let me see. Does it give me the date here? January 3rd. January 3rd. We're in the 27th.
Yeah. In less than a month.
In less than a month.
Yeah.
And I could do that with several cryptos that a month ago, 2 months ago, they were, 20, 30, 40, 50% down. And now they're up all of that. But that's kind of the thing about investing, Cam, is you have to invest when it's the worst time.
Yeah.
And whether it's property, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, it doesn't matter. It's the time when shit is hitting the fan.
Right.
And like, what am I going to invest?
The old saying is you buy when everyone's fearful and you sell when everyone's happy, right?
Right. When there's blood on the streets is when you buy, and there was blood on the streets, and we're kind of getting out of that now. But that's kind of the tricky part of it, and you got to have strong hands and not listen to all the FUD, like we call fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That you'll have plenty of people throwing that out there all the time, right? We deal with it with Tua, right? There's that fear, uncertainty, and doubt all the time with Tua. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. By the way, did you think Sean Payton was going to have this hard of a time finding a home?
Oh, sure. I think I mentioned this when we last did our chat. Was today Friday, Tuesday? That don't be surprised if Sean Payton goes back to TV. And I didn't know that it was going to be like that, but I did say that because I remembered hearing some buzz that for whatever reason, I didn't know that they didn't just like him, but I knew that there was some buzz from people I was talking to that there's not as many people lined up in the Sean Payton train as we had been led to believe. And so I am not surprised. That being said, I'm surprised that it's been for the reasons that have been listed. Some people just not feeling like he's impressed them in interviews, given how much power he wants, and really just kind of, Carolina choosing Frank Wright over him, essentially. So, those things are a part of it. I mean, when you go for Sean Payton, you know that everything that encompasses it. You got to deal with, he's going to have a big ego. He's going to want a lot of power. You got to be willing to do that. You're going to have a general manager who is willing to take a back seat or not have a general manager at all and let Sean Payton run it. Second, you're going to have to give up heavy draft capital to the Saints to go get that guy. And third, you're going to have to compensate him maybe as the highest paid coach in football, if not one of the top 2 or 3. And so you've got to be willing to do all that. And at some point, you're like, is it really worth this? Like, are we guaranteeing ourselves a Super Bowl here? Probably not. And so I think, you're looking at some teams drop off the radar for him. I think he's still in the mix in Arizona. We'll see what they do. That team's a little bit of an unknown, but it seems like for the rest of the teams, they've all kind of moved forward beyond Sean Payton at this stage.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks like that. On the flip side, what does Steve Wilkes have to do?
I don't know, man. To do it,
he took over a
He's got to do backflips, I guess, right?
He took a 1-4 team, 6-6.
Nearly won the South.
I know, and look, man, I got nothing against Frank Reich. I think he knows quarterbacks, and I understand all of that. But it was a disaster in Arizona when they let him go, and it was unfair because it was one season. But and we saw it here. We saw it here with Cam Cameron. One disaster. Okay, but that wasn't the case when he took over. That team was, that team was in bad shape with Matt Rule, and then he took over and did a really good job. And it's really a shame that he loses the opportunity there. And I would love to say, because somebody goes to me, well, wait a minute, bro, they can't be looked at that way. They had Ron Rivera, and I said, well, that was a completely different owner. That wasn't David Tepper. That was a different owner that had a minority in Ron Rivera there for many, many years, and Richardson. Now it's Tepper that is making this decision. Now, again, you're not going to stop these owners from hiring whoever the hell they want to hire. I get all of that. But, the Steve Wilks situation, we got a lot to defend on this go around. Arizona, we didn't have a lot to stand on because it was a terrible year. But to go 6-6 after they were 1-4 and they really didn't have a quarterback and that whole mess, dude, Sam Darnold played actually decent football down the stretch, for them. I don't know, man. I kind of feel bad for the guy that he's not getting a fair shake, dude.
No, you're absolutely right. And talking to people throughout the league over the last, 18 hours, that's been the conversation. Like Steve Wilks deserved his job. The owner, David Tepper, mentioned back in October that if Steve Wilks does an incredible job, then we'll consider him as a head coach. First of all, what kind of parameter is that? You've got a situation where the Panthers are 1-4, like you mentioned, with Matt Rule. They trade away their best player in Christian McCaffrey after a week, and he still leads them and turns this team around to 6-6 with a chance to win the South. If that's not incredible, I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
First of all, that's a tough parameter to even do. Second, he actually did it. And third, I don't know how much of a true shot he even had. I mean, you look at their interview process, 7 of the 9 coaches they interviewed were on the offensive side of the ball. It seemed pretty set to me that they had their mind on getting an offensive-minded coach to fix the quarterback. And, that's their prerogative. But in the same ilk, don't come out and say you gave Steve Wilks a true shot when you've got players like Derek Brown and Brian Burns and guys who are key core parts of your franchise vouching on national TV saying we need Steve Wilks to be our guy, and you essentially ignore them and pick your guy. I think that, if they want to make their choice, they have every right to do so. But it didn't seem like Steve Wilks could have done anything more to get this job. Maybe the decision was already made.
Listen, the guy in Baltimore is, a special teams coach.
Right.
And he's found a way to have a great organization, and he's had, he's lost offensive coordinators like the one that just stepped down now, but he's replaced them with another one and another one. And, that to me, did you give Steve Wilks an opportunity at least to show you that he could get an offensive coach? And by the way, didn't they play their best offensive football after your offensive coach, Matt Rule, left?
They were in the top 5 in rushing without Christian McCaffrey. The combination of Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard had a top 5 rushing offense. The Dolphins have had 17 running backs in the last 5 years and haven't sniffed the top 5 rushing offense.
Wasn't Matt Rule an offensive coach?
Yes, Matt Rule's an offensive coach. And here's my thing. We obsess on offense and defense. There's been a wave. It all started before him, but the Sean McVay era has started everybody looking for their young offensive mind that's going to save this franchise, going to find a quarterback. And this is another example of that. And I get it. Owners obsess on offense. They watch TV on the broadcast on Sundays, and they see all these offensive minds scoring 30 points, and we got to get that guy. We got to get that guy. We got to get his second in command. But the reality is you need to find a leader. The leader is who leads your franchise, and you trust him to hire the coaches to run the offense. That's the way this thing should go. And you mentioned Steve Wilks in Arizona. You got to remember he wasn't the only issue there in his 1 year. You had Josh Rosen at quarterback, and so regardless of whoever your offensive mind is, we know the quarterback is always the quarterback. If you get the quarterback right, the rest of it starts to take care of itself. I mean, Frank Reich just coming from Indy. By the way, I think Frank Reich is a good coach, and I think that he's going to be fine.
No, I have no problem.
This is nothing against Frank Reich, but the reality is Frank Reich was in Indianapolis for 4.5 years. He had Andrew Luck for a brief time. He had Phil Rivers, and he had Matt Ryan, and he went just above 500, and he got fired. And so, these are 3. I know the 2 at the end were on the latter parts of their career, but still, I mean, he's had some quarterbacks here, and it hasn't been like, voila, everything's fixed. So I think the assumption is.
And by the way, he gave bad advice to his own franchise on what quarterbacks to bring in to actually fix. That's why this offensive bullshit doesn't fly with me, because you had your offensive coach in Matt Rule, and then your defensive coach took over, but yet your offense got better overall. So, what do you want him to do? And he ended up using the other quarterback, not the guy that you guys ended up trading for. You know what I mean? It's like that to me. And by the way, isn't the guy for Philadelphia, Sirianni, a former defensive coach?
Sirianni's, I think, always been on the offensive side.
Oh, he's offense. He's offense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an offensive guy. He's definitely an offensive guy. I'm not sure if he had a year or so on defense, but he's always been an offensive guy.
Maybe I was wrong on that one, but
yeah,
I'm sure. I'm trying to think of some other defensive coordinator or defensive-minded head coaches that they've done a good job with their offensive.
Mike Tomlin's obviously a defensive guy who's been doing it for a very long period of time. Sean McDermott, I know a lot of Dolphins fans don't want to hear it, but Sean McDermott is a defensive-minded coach. He's been doing a really good job there for a long period of time as well. I mean, there's been a lot of defensive coaches who have had success in this league. So it's not just an offensive league. I think the idea that it's just offense it's just some made up. Maybe it's media. Maybe we in the media are buying into it. But defensive coaches,
you and I aren't, and we're in the media, so we don't follow for that crap.
Defensive coaches, just as much as offensive coaches, can run and succeed in this league. And it's about the leadership.
The skill of a head coach is like a CEO or a general manager in a business.
Yep.
And you're going to lose regional managers, and you're going to lose top salespeople, and you're going to lose top people in your shipping department and top people in your inventory and all, and then you've got to replace them, and you've got to find the people that are as good or better in that spot. And that's kind of what I had. And to me, that's what I need to know as an owner. Okay, like right now, you got an offensive minded coach in Mike McDaniel. Dude, if he lands Vic Fangio, like, holy shit, this guy knows how to build an offensive staff and can go get his own defensive coordinator. That is strong.
Right.
Okay.
And that's why, like, staff decisions are such a huge part of the interview process that people don't realize. People wonder, like, hey, why isn't this coach getting hired? This coach. So a lot of it's relationships. We talk about, like, not to go back. We talk about Brian Flores there. And, we've talked about this a bunch. But one of the things that Brian failed at on the field was his inability to find the right offensive coordinator. I don't think anybody would disagree that he was a very strong defensive
staff, dude. It wasn't just OC. He couldn't get a QB.
It was the offensive staff. Staff. Yes. And so I don't think anybody would disagree that he's a really good defensive coach, and the defense played well against him. But you can't just have one side of the ball fixed. You've got to have the whole culture of the organization in good place. And then, you got to be able to hire. If you're going to run one side of the ball, and that's why people obsess with the offense, because your offensive coach, in theory, is going to be your head coach who runs things like Mike McDaniel, but also runs the offense. And so you have the organization fits and you have the offense fixed, and then you just have to worry about the defense. That's, in theory, why people focus on the offensive-minded head coaches. The problem is it's not just so easy to fix a defense. As we're seeing in Miami, now they got to go find it because their plan of, let's keep everything the same and we'll just fix the offense and we'll be good. Defense is good. Let's just keep it. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. That drop off between Flores and Boyer was very clear. And now they've got to go out and get a guy, Vic Fangio or somebody else, to go fix it. You're going to have to do the same thing on the offensive side of the ball. And so to me, it really doesn't matter who your coach is on what side of the ball. You got to be able to have a guy who has the relationships to find coaches and to replace them if they eventually leave or don't have success.
All right, let's throw in all the ingredients in here, and then you tell me what we're cooking in here. So we're finding out that Sean Payton's having trouble getting a job like the way he wants. So in turn, a lot of people have talked about Fangio's tied to him. So if Sean's not getting his job and getting back to TV, no. So then we also hear that Philadelphia, their defensive coordinator, could be the lead dog for Houston, just as former Houston linebacker DeMeco Ryans is the lead dog for Denver, right? According from what we hear. Fangio could be, since he's a consultant in Philadelphia, could end up taking the job and taking over there as defensive coordinator. Word is Miami can't hire him until Philadelphia is done with the season, if they can hire him. Then we've got this other mix. We had our boy Benjamin Albright on yesterday. You know Benjamin from KOA in Colorado and knows his shit.
Absolutely.
And so I reached out to him because I know he can give us a lot of insight on Fangio, and he gave us a really interesting nugget. The mom is here in Florida. Obviously, she's in her older years. His girlfriend, who's a surgeon, is in California. And so we don't know, is he going to take a job on the East Coast to be closer to mom? Will he take a job on the West Coast instead? Will he go with what's it called? With Peyton if he's really finds a job? Does he stay in Philadelphia? Does he come to Miami? What have you heard? Because from what I'm hearing, okay, if the Peyton thing dies out, I kind of feel that Philadelphia is the second option because, my God, it's a Super Bowl ready-made team. The guy leaves. He knows the defense already because he's been consulting and all that stuff. So why not step in there to a ready-made team and, stability? Or I think Miami's kind of third when I start to look at that landscape that I put myself in his shoes is what I'm doing. I'm not putting myself in the fan shoes because obviously we want to come here.
Right.
So all of these elements have been thrown into the cooking pot. What comes out?
Well, here's what I would say, first of all, and I reported this, but, Mike McDaniel has wanted or admired Vic Fangio and his scheme for a year now, since since when he got the job, essentially. I reported throughout the process the Dolphins had made clear to all their candidates, as I leave, all their candidates that they were going to have to keep the defensive coordinator and a lot of the defensive staff. That was something that was made clear to the candidates. And so Mike essentially inherited Josh Boyer and a lot of his assistants, which is why we're seeing some of them exit now that Mike McDaniel is able to have a bigger say in what's going on here. And so I think if it was up to the Dolphins, my view, based on what I'm hearing, they would sign Vic Fangio and make it done. But it's not only up to them. And so the Vic Fangio element is interesting because, like you mentioned, he has been a consultant in Philadelphia this year. I don't know if that was readily known until about a week ago, but he has been there. That being said, he's just a consultant. He doesn't have a coaching full-time role. And so he doesn't need to get permission or leave at any point. But that being said, he's probably going to want to see this playoff run through. And at the same token, we could see, if for whatever reason Philly's season ends on Sunday, then all of a sudden Houston could make a move. Denver can make a move for their, or 49ers vice versa, for their preferred candidate. If it is DeMeco Ryans in Denver and it is Jonathan Gannon in Houston, then those are situations that we'll have more clarity with after this weekend. And so maybe it's Monday, Tuesday when we start to see some of these buckets drop on. If those two guys do leave, then you have two of your NFC championship teams contenders open defensive coordinators. You got Kyle Shanahan and Nick Sirianni there, who are the offensive minds we're talking about, and Mike McDaniel. And so you've got three really good offensive minds competing for one guy, essentially. And then, like you said, it's going to be up to what Vic wants. I don't know. I don't have any idea what Vic's preference is at this point. You mentioned some of the family elements there. I didn't know about the San Fran element. I didn't know he had a relationship.
She's in Southern California.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know about the Cali element. I didn't know about the Florida element, and I did know that he's from the Pennsylvania area, and so he does have family up there. That's where his roots are, and so it's easy for him to stay. It's easy for him to stay where he, like any of us. Like if somebody offers you an opportunity where your hometown is, you're like, great, I'll stay at the crib. And so a lot of good choices for him. I know he also interviewed in Atlanta and in Carolina as well. And so he does not have a limit of options, which is why I think the Dolphins have to prep themselves for, if for whatever reason he doesn't come, who's your second choice? Is it Sean Desai, who was a Fangio disciple and was the DC with the Bears before? Do you go with a Chris Richard, who has been around the league, has had some success in Seattle and Dallas?
Who's your pick?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know a lot about what the type of scheme Chris Richard would want to run. He's been in a lot of different places, but I don't know what his scheme truly would be. I would want somebody that I could leave the defense alone with and trust that they have. Because as we know, Mike McDaniel, although he's the head coach and CEO of the team, he would prefer to run the offense have somebody else be the head coach of the defense. And so I don't know a lot about Sean Desai as a person, but I do know that his scheme is something that's a Fangio scheme. And so if Mike McDaniel's looking for that scheme and you can't get Fangio, the second best would be get the guy he taught the scheme, And so to me, Campanelli is a really good coach. I think he does deserve a DC job. I just think that if you're looking at what Miami's heading towards, I think they have a vision of what they want the defense to look like. And maybe staying internal may not be the choice this time. But, we'll see.
All right. Predictions. We got San Francisco, Philadelphia. Philly's favored by 2.5. What do you think?
Philly, San Fran. I think that Philly has been the best team in football all year, and I think they are the better team on Sunday. I think they're better on the offensive line. I think their defensive line leads the NFL in the sacks by 15, and I think they get to Brock Purdy and make the rookie look like a rookie for maybe the first time all season. I got Philly by double digits.
Yeah, I got Philly too. I'm taking them also. Cincinnati at Kansas City. And right now, Kansas City is now favored by 1.5 after Mahomes put on an ankle show.
Yeah, man. I can't wait for this game. I think the Philly San Fran game is going to be fun. But the Cincy KC game, it had a little spiciness. I was at the last game they played in December, and in the locker room after the game, Mike Hilton was really almost yelling in my ear, talking about they've been talking all week, but we're 3-0 against them in the calendar year. That's all you need to know. We're 3-0 against them in the calendar year, and we're going to see them again in the playoffs. And they know when we see them, they got to play us. And so that was his message there. I see some Chiefs players this week. Willie Gay, the linebacker, they asked him what he fears or what he's impressed about the Bengals defense, and he said nothing, or Bengals offense, and he said nothing. So there's been a little spiciness there. You know how much I love Patrick Mahomes. I called him the most underrated player in the league. But since he's been the best team I've covered this season, I haven't covered Philly this year, but since he's been the best team that I've covered, and I think they'll be the better team on Sunday. So give me Cincy in a really close one.
By the way, for those of you that don't know what he's talking about,
I'm just excited to be playing football, man. That's just what comes with the game, We, like Coach Reed said, we don't do no talking. We just go handle business when it's time to go.
What is it about that Bengals offense that maybe impresses you the most? You played it a few times.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing. The Bengals offense has scored 27 points against them a month ago. Joe Burrow, nothing. Jamar Chase, nothing.
They got that swag, bro.
It's nothing.
They got that swag.
Hey, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And I don't know for sure, but I've got a very good suspicion. If the Bengals do win and they get Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase or one of those guys in the post-game interview after, one of their answers is going to be nothing.
Right. Yeah. or there's going to be a shirt made that everybody's going to be wearing that says nothing.
Hey, this is a Bengals team that hears everything. They ran through the tunnel after they beat the Bills and yell, "You better get those refunds. You better get those AFC Championship refunds."
I was explaining to the young one, Marcel, because we tend to have this generational gap with Marcel at times on the show. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know why these Bengal fans were all butthurt about the AFC champion." And I'm like, "Bro, you're young. You really don't get it. Bengals fans have been tortured forever. Bengal players that go through there are tortured the same way. They get no respect. They get treated like Rodney Dangerfield all the time. Now that they've earned the right to be one of the best teams in the league, and they were going to beat the shit out of Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, just like they did last week, because they knew they were better. They knew they had the swag. They knew they had them. And they felt like they maybe were on the brink of, hey, if Kansas City slips up, we own home field advantage. And after all these years of being crapped on as a fan base because of your own or because of whatever, now you've earned the right to be at home for an AFC championship game, and you're going to take it away from us? Dude, I completely understand. As a battered Dolphins fan, I can't imagine what it's like to be a battered Bengals fan or Lions fan or whatever, bro. And the Lions, if they actually build on this success, brother, you got to understand that these fan bases have been suffering for a while. So you gotta have some sympathy for the way, like, everybody else got home field advantage for AFC Championship games. Why shouldn't we? And I totally understand that from Cincinnati side.
Yeah, they have been the small market who's been ignored for so long, and some of it's been warranted because they haven't been. But now they have the team. Now they have the quarterback. That's why the whole mantra, and Mike Hilton said it when he told me earlier, that whole "they got to play us" mantra. That's based on what you're talking about. The Bengals feeling slighted. They feel like people are not respecting them. They're not giving them the love. They were the AFC champions last year. And all last week we were talking about, the Bills, Josh Allen, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. They're 6-point favorites. They shut them up. Now this week, it's all about, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a superhero coming back from the ankle injury. And he is a superhero. Don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes is a superhero. But all the talk is about that. And the Bengals are like, we beat them 3 times out of our last 3 chances. And in the last 13, what more? They got to play us. So I can't wait for Sunday. And I can't wait to see what the nothing is that Willie Gay doesn't see in the Bengals offense.
I'm with you there. All right. What do you got going on the NFL Network? Do they have you traveling?
They don't have me traveling this weekend, so I won't be at a game, unfortunately, but I will be Monday heading to Vegas for the Pro Bowl. So I'm prepping for Pro Bowl, so I'll watch the games at home on Sunday and then go to Pro Bowl, and I'll be in Vegas all week for that.
All right, you got it. We'll talk next week. You'll be in Vegas. I'll be in Mobile. We'll have some fun, my brother. I appreciate you as always. Have a great weekend and be safe in your travels too.
For sure. You too, man.
Got it. All right. Thank you. There you go. Cam Wolf, baby. Don't forget KSDT, 3 offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. 305-670-3370. Forensic accounting, business valuation. They do it all there. From commercial litigation, divorce, fraud, anything that your business is dealing with, they can help you out. Management advisory services, from forecasts to projections to budgets. They can really help your business grow. Call the great people at KSDT CPAs. They can handle your personal accounting. They can handle your business accounting, folks. They've got healthcare advisory, property management, wealth management there, whether it's family office, business-owned planning, insurance strategies. They do valuation. They do domestic and international tax. They do assurance. They do it all, man. And they are in the top 200 in accounting firms by Forbes. So you want a top 200 accounting or tax firm, you got it right here in South Florida. Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. We got an office coming in North Carolina soon for our friends up in North Carolina. 305-670-3370. You tell them that Big O sent you.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. By the way, Hialeah Park, we were there yesterday. We'll be there again next Friday. And February 24th, they've got Guillermo Origondao is coming. World Championship Boxing, una gran noche de boxeo cubano. February 24th at Hialeah Park, baby. Go check it out. Come on out there. We're going to be giving away tickets in the next couple of weeks here. And you can also go to hialeahpark.com so you can get your tickets. You'll see the icon there for the boxing. You can hit it, enjoy it. The buffet there is absolutely awesome. So go enjoy it at Hialeah Park. The racing, no, not the racing, the gaming. Well, you can gamble on the racing all over the country, which is a beautiful thing at the Champions Sports Bar. And then we've got, it's a Champions Simulcast Center, actually. So you've got all the TVs there, tracks all over the country, and you've got all the windows there so you can wager. Second floor, they've got the beautiful poker room there. They've got windows there, too, so you can wager. TVs everywhere. They can serve you food and drinks downstairs. Over 900 machines. smoke-free casino. Okay? Nobody's going to be blowing smoke in your face, whether you're playing poker, whether you're at the gaming machines. Now, they do have an area outside called the Smoking Hot Slots. And you can go check them out. Really cool area. They've got fans everywhere. So really, it's a nice temperature. And you can enjoy your cigar, your cigarette, or your vape pipe, or whatever it is that you smoke. Enjoy it, baby. All right? Go out there to Hialeah Park and tell them that Big O sent you, baby. They will definitely take care of you. All right. Let's see. What else do we have going on the show? Carlos says, I really believe that Boyer would have been fine without the injuries. He had some serious bad luck. Yeah, but when a new owner takes over, when a new coach takes over, changes happen, man. You know, I don't think he did a bad job. I thought he did actually a decent job overall. Thomas Jensen says, Bungles too cocky, running their mouths all week like the Buffaloes all year. Want to see them drink some humility. I think they're going to beat Kansas City, man. I like their defense right now. They're coming through. That's why I was wrong this year on the Bengals, because I thought, okay, the Bengals, maybe they make, a playoff and get bounced in the first round, or maybe they miss the playoffs and they do what a lot of these, one-hit wonders. They get to the Super Bowl, but they can never match it again. But as this year was going on, and especially the second half when they really turned it on, their defense was making play after play after play. And I said, that's why I picked them against the money line. And I took the points last week against the Bills, because, you gotta look at things and give them credit for what and I get it that they're talking a little smack, but I think it comes from a lot of frustrations. It comes from never getting any respect. It comes from always being dissed. And most of it has been self-inflicted because of your ownership group or bad coaches or bad draft picks and all that. But they're really good now. And, people still don't want to believe in them. You know what I'm saying? I believed in him last week, and I'm going with it again. I'm going to say that they're going to end up winning. So we'll see. APOC Morrow says the Bills are already heading downhill. Let one of those other teams join them. He might be onto something. Some of these salaries will be kicking in, and it's going to be a little harder for them to maintain. That's for sure. I can see that going. Dolphin 13, running their defensive scheme requires a certain skill set, players in the secondary, and with all the injuries to the secondary, I thought Josh Boyer did a good job. Yeah, he did. But again, it's really not about that. It's about getting the person you want, running the defense you want. They might be philosophically two different people. And this was more about not having too much change for a rookie coach and keeping, the continuity. But I agree with you. If that secondary stays healthy, I think that defense plays a completely different game. Wait, get Cameron back. How the heck is Mahomes the most underrated player in the league? He said that, right? I think he said that because of the Tyreek Hill thing. Like, you lose, one of the most dynamic receivers in the league. You don't necessarily have a star-studded, receiving core, and yet you're still one of the best offenses in the league. I think you produce more yards than you did last year. So I think that's what he's saying, that, what was it? Irwin comes in and plays well. I think that's what he's saying. Hayden Hurst has become a guy that he had talent and he had some injury history when he was at Baltimore, but he's come there and he's really found his place, let's just say. So I think that's kind of the thing when you see guys like that get adjusted with Joe Burrow. Well, then the same thing here with Mahomes. He's got Schuster. He's got although I love the kid they got from the Giants, but he hasn't really taken that step forward. Tony, and what's the other receiver that he has? So I think that's what he's saying, that Mahomes doesn't have these great receivers, and yet he's elevating those people, kind of like what Burrow does with Irving and kind of things like that. So you want to see the great quarterbacks. Of course, throwing it to Jamar Chase is, and throwing it to Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, that's no-brainers. Those are absolutely fantastic players. But when you start making the other players effective and good enough to win games, I think that's what he means by with Mahomes, that he's still making it work with others, like Burrow does. If somebody goes down, he'll have somebody else step in and he'll still make it work. So I think that's kind of the thing that he was talking about. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Stopping by my lunch, says Ragin. Well, we love you for stopping by, Ragin. Thank you. Oh, by the way, let me check, make sure any Cash App or Venmo. Damn, what's going on here? Okay. All right. I'm looking because, market's up a little bit. So I'm just trying to figure out which, what stuff is moving in the right direction, which is a beautiful thing. Star Atlas moving slightly. That's not what really is moving it. Okay. Interesting. What else do we have going on? Let me see if there's any kind of breaking news out there. Make sure we got going on. By the way, Heat and Magic in action tonight. I'm not going to bet it because I don't want to bet against the Heat. But those of you that are comfortable betting against your favorite teams, or maybe you're not a Heat fan, I would take Orlando plus 7.5. I would take that. I just don't trust the Heat, actually. Panthers are favored by 1.5 against the Kings. I might take the Kings too on this one. Oh, are you flying or are you and Sean flying or driving? Doug, I am driving. Sean is not going. Sean will be here running the show. I will be in Mobile. What's it called? Going out to practice and doing all the kinds of stuff. Sean doesn't need to go to this. He can. The beauty of the StreamYard, we do it every day, and I'm in studio at home, and he's in his studio at his house. So it's the same thing. So Sean doesn't need really to go to all of that. I can go and, it's really more about gathering information than anything else. And so I'm going to do it. I'm not going to Radio Row. I'm not paying that ridiculous amount of money and not be given players. And they give you very few players. 7, 10, 12, 14 years ago, I controlled that whole place. And they didn't really have the limitations that they have now. And I used to be on Radio Row, and I would I would bring them in, dude, one after another. Nowadays, it's just not the same anymore. And, and they charge you like 8-9 times more. This is not, the other day, some guy reached out to Joe Shad. He says, hey, haven't seen you on Big O Show. Are you not doing the segment? And, well, we're on hiatus. And that's because we don't have a sponsor for it, and it's like, this is a business, guys. It takes money. Okay. It takes money to go on the road, money to broadcast. You got to buy spots to go, like the desk area that I would need and the phone lines and all that stuff. And they charge you a boatload for that. You know what I mean? And so this is not I'm not some fan that's in my basement and I'm doing this for fun as a hobby or anything. This is a business. And that's why I tell you that if you want this business to grow, Red Recover, man, 50% off on all pads, Nature B, Craig's Inns Acura Pembroke Pines, EJD Construction, Cutter's Edge Pro, Edge Energy Drink, Sports Grill. I tell you this all the time, and I'm not joking. We could continue to kick ass and we continue to do all this, but we need you to tune in. We need you to hit that like button. We need you to visit our sponsors. All of these things are really, really important. It's not a joke, and so I would love to continue adding more and more insiders, but it takes money because these people aren't going to come on for free. They're not doing that on other stations or all that. And so here we got them coming on either once or even twice a week. That costs money. I got to travel. I got to get a hotel, get a car. I got expenses. How are we going to pay for that? You know what I'm saying? So all of this stuff, this is a real business. Okay? This is not like some game. I don't do this for a game. I do this because it's my business. It's what we do. So, it's not that simple. Let's see. Big O, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel lately a little more positive about our Dolphins this offseason than the last 6 to 7 years. So do I. I'm just pissed that they were injured. If they had better luck on the injury side, I think we would have seen a better Dolphins team. King Short says, Big O, the Dolphins can't speak about Fangio because he's still an Eagle employee until their season is over, correct? Yes, they can't publicly talk about him, but they could interview him. Yes. But they're not going to talk about him anyways until they hire him. So there's nothing really to talk about right now. So we'll see. They interviewed yesterday. They interviewed a couple of candidates yesterday. I think they're interviewing one today. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If this continues to stretch out with the Philadelphia thing, then I almost feel like he's taken that job because then he's just waiting for the defensive coordinator to leave. Because if he's going to leave anyways, what does he need to keep consulting? Unless he wants to win a ring as a consultant. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. I just thought about that when I was talking about it. Maybe, he helps out, he gets a ring because he was a consultant. Let's see. Gary R says Tua being in the same offensive system 2 straight years will make a difference. I see Tua taking another step forward next season. I agree. He's just got to stay healthy, man. I'm not worried about Tua the player. I'm never, ever, 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 ever. I never wavered. I never was concerned. I laughed at everybody that said he was too short or didn't have a strong enough arm or he couldn't throw deep, or I never, ever wavered on that. Ever. The only thing I've always been concerned with from all the way to the draft was his injury history. That's the only thing I've ever been concerned about with him. That's the only thing anybody should have ever been concerned about. All you silly gooses out there, you were dead ass wrong about his play. Dolphin 13, the number one formula win in this league consistently, it's in the trenches. All 4 teams that lost rushed for under 100 yards except the Jags. Both lines, offensive and defensive lines, you've got to dominate. Definitely. So, let me see. What else do we have here going on? I think we're pretty much done, folks. I think there's not much left to talk about. Tomorrow, by the way, we'll be back in 24 hours. We'll be back. We will have our Crypto Bro show. Remember, redrecover.com right now. They've got all the wraps for you. 50% off. Neck, shoulders, back, elbows, wrists, ankles, knees, you name it. They've got the pad for it. We've even got it for the dogs, for their hips. So check it out. Red light therapy is all natural. So kids can use it. The dogs can use it. And of course, us adults, you can maximize your workouts by using it before and after. It'll get that blood flow going and you'll feel a lot better. You're going to have your soreness from working out. That comes with it. But if you are dealing with an old injury or surgery from your workouts and soreness, that will help you alleviate those kind of injuries and all that kind of stuff. Even if you have a scar, you just recently had a surgery, you're about to have a surgery, and you're going to have a scar, red light therapy can help. You can put a pad over it, okay, for I think it's 10 or 15 minutes a day, and that scar will probably disappear. It's pretty awesome. We've got videos. Go to redrecover.com and check out the videos, and you'll see it there. 50% off right now at redrecover.com. I don't think we have anything going on in the world of sports. I'm looking. Zach Taylor says he doesn't see Alex Kapler or Jonah Williams playing this week, so they'll have the backups again. That's about some of the news that came in. Not big news, but their backups actually played really, really well this past week. I was really surprised with that. Good job by the coaches. Good job by the players. Kind of getting all that done. Trying to see if there's anything else that's breaking that I don't know about. Let's see what else. Car hits McGregor's bike. Could have been dead. Okay. Conor McGregor getting into a mix-up. So the Rams are in the process of hiring former New York Jets offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. The move, first reported by NFL Network, comes as LaFleur and the Jets parted ways, and the Rams offensive coordinator Liam Cohen left Sean McVay's staff to return to the Kentucky Wildcats to hold the same position. So there you go. You guys are going to get a LaFleur up in Los Angeles. All right. I think we are done. Let me see any interesting questions you guys want to pop in before I go. Gaddis has been officially let go. Yeah, that's how we started the show. You may want to go rewind, Troy, and find out about what we talked about over 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago, because I actually started the show early. I started it like at 9:45, 9:50 or something like that. We started a little early because we were going to get Omar on at 10:05. So we started a little earlier. But I already spoke my piece with Gaddis. Plus, we had Manny Navarro on, and we talked about Gaddis, all about that. Dougie Fresh now follows up that the Beatles broke up too. And, wow, Gaddis officially let go and the Beatles broke up. Holy crap. A lot of stuff is happening right now. Did not know about Gaddis. Did not know about the Beatles. Any trade the Miami Heat should do. Frankie, there is no trade that's going to put them in a championship caliber position. They don't have the ammunition for it. So even if they make a Jay Crowder move or even a John Collins move, I don't think it makes them a contender. But it might help them win a round in the playoffs. But that's about it. You know what's the frustrating part about this basketball season? That I don't know what the Heat is. Because they miss so many games, you don't really get a feel. And then when you really think about it, the other teams also have so many players out that you don't really get a feel for anything. I mean, really, the regular season has become the biggest joke in the world. Gary R. is saying it's Yoko's fault. I can't imagine Yoko being a part of breaking up the Beatles. No. That's such a nice woman. Incredible talent. What a voice. I mean, Yoko Ono should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She should have been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame years ago with all those hits and that amazing talent of hers. That Plastic Ono Band. I mean, Dougie Fresh can't get enough of the Plastic Ono Band. Biggest all-star starter snub. You guys really just want me to stick around for bullshit? Yoko attempting to sing is like nails on a chalkboard. Yoko, oh no, my ears. All right. Listen, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button on the way out, please. If you're listening to the show at any time, day or nights, wherever you're downloading it, please smash the hell out of the like button. Hit the notification bell. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what is coming your way at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? this is what's coming your way.
Let's step into the world of cryptocurrency with a guy that loves to talk crypto in the world of blockchain technology.
It's time to talk crypto with my bro, the Big O, so turn it up and listen, dude.
It's the Crypto Bro Show with Orlando Alzugari.
So there you go. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, you want to start learning a little bit about crypto, want to go on the journey with us. There you go. Remember, we are not financial advisors, investors, or professionals. Just a guy that loves crypto. So make sure you do your own homework when you invest. Don't listen to me that Tesla's good to buy at 106 or 109 and it's at 170 now. I am not a financial advisor. But there you go. We'll see you tomorrow. You all be good out there. Be safe. Very important. Be safe out there. We love you all. See you tomorrow.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.